up a chair, my friend, the kitchen table's on. Kenny's pouring stories like a long, slow midnight song.
Welcome everybody back to the kitchen table. You guys know me, I'm Kenny D. I got some great guests interviewing lots of firemen, lots of people who aren't firemen, looking to branch out in the future. You never know. I just interviewed an actor, Robert Burke. Guy was awesome. Great stuff. So I got to tell everybody, thanks for subscribing. Please, if you haven't, subscribe already. Like the channel, comment, share it with everybody so the algorithm goes out and I can get great guests like my man today, bro. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to talk to you. You've been ducking me a while, bro. You've been ducking me.
It's been a while. Joshy's always got shit going on. I always got stuff going on, bro. You know that, bro. I'm always moving.
I know, man. I was hounding you.
But we wanted to wait for the appropriate time, and now it's the appropriate time.
I know, man. Absolutely. All right, here we go. He's born and raised in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. Youngest of three boys, son to a father who owned and operated a bar and restaurant called Beards and Beards Cafe. Mom, who was a nurse. Grandfather on the FDNY assigned to Engine Company 224. Joshy got on the NYPD in 1995, assigned to the 6-7 precinct, and was assigned to the Street Narcotics
Enforcement
Unit. I'm sorry. Then he gets on the FDNY in February of 2001. Out of field training, he was assigned to Ladder 7 and Engine 16. Then out of probie school, assigned to Engine Company 212. Transfers over to Ladder 114 TALLY HO.
TALLY HO
in 2000.
Nice shout out.
Yeah, man. Promoted to lieutenant in 2014, assigned to the 6th Division and UFO until retirement in Ladder 28. Some of his awards, the Harlem Hilton, one of the best houses on the job.
I agree.
Awards include the Bird Center Medal in 2012 for the Lieutenant James Curren New York Firefighter Burn Center Foundation Medal, and in 2015, the Father Julian what does that say? Deekan. Father Julian Deekan Medal in 2015. Welcome to the kitchen table, my dear friend, whose heart is bigger than anyone I know, and he wears it on his sleeve every single day. Joshy Jobs,
wow.
Lieutenant Josh Calacanis, brother. What's up, man?
Wow. Thank you so much for having me, Kenny. And boy, when you roll that out, you really sound important. I sound way more important than I actually am.
Bro, you've been a very important guy to me in my life, man. So
I appreciate it. And I just want to, before we even get started, I've been listening to a lot of your pods, and number one, you're leveling up your game. Incredible. Like it's so great. The guests are amazing. And more importantly than anything, what you're doing is extremely, extremely important and impactful because it adds everything that the fire department is. You know, some humor, some scary parts, some sadness, you know what I mean? And it all goes together in the careers that we had, you know, and you're doing such a nice job honoring that, you know, a job that we both love so much. So I really am very impressed. And, you know, Eileen Ballou, you know, having her on was so just incredible. Tommy Casatelli, his story is amazing. Even Burke you had on the other day was incredible. You know, really just really awesome, impactful stuff. And I just give you a lot of credit for that. And everybody should be subscribing and listening because it's really important work that you're doing. And thank you for that.
Oh man, I appreciate it. Thanks so much, man. I know coming from you, you don't fuck around, you don't lie. So I appreciate that. And getting stories like this on record, you know, archiving history, you know, I'm very inspired by the Getting Salty guys, and that's what they're doing. They're archiving the war years, these guys that just have stories. To me, it's this is apples and oranges, but you know, anybody who knows anybody who was in World War II or Vietnam or something like that, like American history, guys that fought for our country, you know, those stories, those men, those patriots that fought for our country. I like a guy's history, a guy's archive, you know, of what he did in his life with his grandkids, your grandkids, because you're a grandfather now.
I'm going to watch this.
One day can press a button and know what their grandfather did.
Yeah,
I'd give anything.
That's pretty awesome.
I'd give anything to press a button and hear my grandfather talk for 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean?
You're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
You're 100%. We looked at a little wedding video from my cousin's wedding, and my grandmother was on it.
Oh.
And she's like, I hope you stay as married as long as I was. And she starts like that laugh that she has.
Yeah.
And all of my cousins are all texting like, to hear that voice again, you know, it's true. It really is true.
Yeah.
And it's
So
awesome.
great.
And that's why I was told not to curse too much. You know, I'm going to try to
We're gonna
behave myself.
two Brooklyn boys are going to try our best not to curse so much. You know, I've
keep
been
moving,
called out.
you know.
I've been called out a few times, so I'm really trying, man. All right, bro. Let's get into it. I know where you're from, but let everybody know where you're from and how you grew up.
Yeah, so I was originally born on 99th Street and 3rd Avenue. We lived in an apartment. Fontbonne had like 3 little houses, and we had an apartment on the 3rd floor overlooking those 3 little houses. And I grew up the youngest of 3 boys. My father owned a bar called Beards. John the Beard is my father, really a legend in the neighborhood and just an amazing guy. And my mom became a nurse, you know, over the years, and then a nurse practitioner. She got a master's in business. I mean, she is one of the smartest people, hardest working people in the world. So I was like immediately born into an amazing family with the greatest mom and dad that anybody could ever have in their life. You know what I mean? And then 2 older brothers, you know, I immediately had best friends as soon as I was born. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, I really feel like so blessed to have grown up like that. Oh my God. That's hysterical. That's Keensburg, New Jersey. We used to summer there. Yeah. My mother used to go there when she was a little kid too. And they had a bungalow all throughout the years in Keensburg till about the mid 80s when they finally went to Breezy Point. But that's me and my 2 brothers and my cousins, Eddie and Billy.
Nice.
We were like Dick as Thieves for the whole summer with my grandparents watching us, or not watching us.
Hey, nobody watched this when we were growing up, man. Right? They just
Nobody. That was amazing. And when we did have a shack run, it was my grandfather and my Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom was blind, and my grandfather drank 10 beers and, you know, sat in the sun and let us adventure. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're pretty close with your family, mother, father.
Oh,
and
hell
brothers.
yeah. Real tight. Yeah, really tight. We were very blessed, you know. My mother's side, the Irish side, we have a big family. She was one of 6 kids, a lot of cousins. And yeah, we grew up really tight and real nice, you know. And then my father's family, he had a small family, but his family was the bar people, you know, the people that hung out in the bar and worked in the bar, which is my cousin Michael, Billy Murphy, like all these people that are in my life that are literally, they taught me how to be a person, you know what I mean? They were my family, you know?
Yeah.
I always like thank my dad for like filling me and my 2 brothers, our lives up with such colorful people. You know, bar people are good people, you know, and there was, you know, some dangerous people too. There was Hell's Angels that hung out in there. Lou Ferrigno who used to hang out in there. You know, and movie stars, Nick Nolte.
Beards and Beards Cafe.
Yep, Beards and Beards Cafe, yeah.
And Hell's Angels hung out in that?
Yeah, Wise Guys, Hell's Angels, yeah. My father was very good friends with Sandy Alexander. He was the president of the New York chapter. He got invited to his wedding, yeah. It's an amazing story, you know what I mean? Like his story.
Got tons of stories.
The greatest storyteller of all time, you know, not even to believe. Give
me one of his stories. If this is your dad, is this your dad? No, that's a.
There he is. So so we'll start with that one. So that picture was painted. A friend of his came back from Vietnam, and he didn't have a job. And I don't know, my father let him, you know, be a porter in the bar for a while or whatever it was till he got on his feet a little bit. And he's an artist, almost like Tommy Casatelli, right? And the guy, you know what I'm saying? And the guy says, John, let me paint you a picture. You know, he said, yeah, sure, paint me a picture, anything. He's like, what do you want to get painted? I don't know, the Brooklyn Bridge, the Verrazano, the sun, you know, sunset on the beach, whatever.
Yeah.
He goes, you know what? Why don't I paint you? My father's like, no, what do you paint me for? I don't want you to, you don't have to paint me. He goes, no, I think I want to paint you. Let me paint you. So he goes, all right. So the guy paints my father. He goes, put on a tux. So that's my father's tux and his wedding studs on his tuxedo. And of course, he's got a wine snifter. I mean, he's got a brandy snifter and a cigar. Because my father he was a big wine guy, but he always liked to have a drink and smoke a cigar. And I mean, if that doesn't look like somebody from, I don't even know, like a French king or something, right?
That's great, man. I love it.
Yeah, he's a great man, my father, the best.
For sure.
Wow, just put me in a good mood looking at that picture, you know?
Here we go.
There he is, John the Beard, the chef. He looks great in that picture, yeah.
So he was the chef as well. He
cooked, and then he was obviously the owner, so he was always outside, but he cooked too. And then when I got a little older, we'll go down this road later. But when he had the second place, Beard's Cafe, on Monday and Tuesday nights, I was his dishwasher. So he would cook, and I would be the dishwasher. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. And then when we were all working together, I called the Camelot years. Jamie was behind the bar, my brother. Jason, my other brother, was on the floor waitering, and me and my dad were in the kitchen. It was like, you know, really a special time, you know, really
Nice,
incredible.
man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good memories, you know?
That's awesome. And so were you also close with your grandfather who was in FDNY?
So close. So totally. So my father worked at night, and then my mom eventually became a nurse and worked at night. She worked in the emergency room in Victory. She used to laugh because she would say your father would beat him up and throw him out of the bar, and I would put him back together when they got to the emergency room. So because my parents both worked at night sometimes on the weekends and stuff, even during the week sometimes we would stay at my grandparents' apartment, 7901 4th Avenue. So I was always with my grandparents in the summers, of course, all summer. And then, you know, a lot of times on the weekends and stuff, my mom and dad were working. We would stay over at my grandmother's house, the three of us. And, you know, it was just the best. So, yeah. And that's actually where I got my first introduction to the fire department. Because, you know, everybody who's a fireman, no matter where you worked, there's some place in your house. Some guys have a big thing. Some guys have a little thing where there might be a little plaque. Maybe you won a medal, your retirement, something, you know what I mean? And I always remember my grandfather had a little cluster of pictures and a couple of things on the mantle of fire department related things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was always like, wow, that must have been really cool to be a fireman, you know? And I always thought about that. And then he would buff the fires around the neighborhood, and he would bring his dog Sandy, and he would always go out and go to the fires. And if I was around, he would take me and my brothers, you know what I mean?
So did he, where is
cool.
where is 224?
224 is on Hick Street, right off Atlantic.
Okay. So he didn't live in the neighborhood near 224.
He didn't live in the neighborhood. He grew up on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, which a lot of Irish did when they came in. Yeah. And then it's a great story. It's a real Brooklyn story. So my grandmother lived on the corner of Atlantic and Hicks, and my grandfather worked down the block in the firehouse. And he met her, like he was doing like BI or something, and he met her on the corner, and they fell in love. And Josh, he's here now.
Hey, nice, dude. That's
Isn't that cool?
Did he ever talk about the fire department? I mean, those guys back then.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally.
Okay.
And then when I got older to talk to him about, he never saw me be a fireman. He saw me graduate from the police academy, which he was very proud of. Yeah. But he never got to see me graduate the fire academy, which I really, really. I really wished he would have, because I actually went to his cemetery and I prayed to him the 2 times I took the physical to help me, because he's buried in Calvary in Queens. Yeah. Oh, nice. And he's surrounded by firemen in that cemetery. Really? Yeah. And the firehouse is on the corner, right by the gate, 128 truck over there. And on the corner was the County Cork Bar. I don't know if it's there anymore. So when he got buried, we were like, yeah, Grandpa's pretty happy. He's surrounded by firemen. He's got a firehouse right here, and he's got County Cork Bar on the corner.
And are they from County Cork in Ireland? Or?
So everybody is, right? Because they got on the ships there when they came here in the ferries. But I think yes. I think he might have been from Cork. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome, man. So I guess he was the only influence or the driving influence you had to get on the fire department?
He was the driving influence for sure. And there was really only 2 things I ever wanted to do in my life: play for the New York Yankees. And I wasn't that great at baseball, even though I did win a couple of MVPs, Little League, 2 championships, no big deal. I wasn't really good
touchdowns,
enough.
1 game.
It's a true story, actually. And I caught the winning ball. I mean, I don't want to get into it, but yeah, I know I don't want to get into it.
Why am I not surprised?
But if you know, you know. So there was only 2 things in my life I ever wanted to be. One was a New York Yankee, but I wasn't that great at baseball. And the second was a New York City firefighter like my grandfather, because I idolized him, you know? Yeah. He was like, you know, he always told me stories and stuff, and, you know, always talked about fires and stuff. And he loved the job like everybody does. Yeah. And he was on, I never sent you the picture though. I have a picture of his graduating class from 1934. He got on in 34 and retired in 57. Yeah.
Jeez. And he even retired before the war years.
Yeah. And my mom gave it to me. And as I was opening it for Father's Day one year, many years ago, I'm opening it, and there's 2 guys with guns with look like Italian hats on. They look like gangsters. Wow. But it was the Lyle guns to shoot the rope to the roof. You know what I mean? So the 2 guys were kneeling with the Lyle guns with the rope in a coil in front of them to pose for the picture. The scary ladders were like in an X in the back with the big round trampoline. You know, like you look at that picture, it's amazing. Yeah, it's a beautiful picture.
I got it. Yeah, you got to send me that one.
I'll send it to you. Yeah,
for sure.
It's very cool. Sure. So that was my first, you know, inkling of like, you know, maybe that's something I want to do in life. You know. Yeah. Nice. But
you had to wait for the fire department. You get on NYPD. Tell me about that. What made you,
So that's a funny little thing too. Everybody from Brooklyn, all the guys in the neighborhood, we all grew up the same. It doesn't matter who you're talking to. Everybody grew up in the schoolyard or the park, you know what I mean? Hung out all the time with their boys and little girls in the crew, whatever it was. And everybody, when it came time to be 19, 20, 21, everybody took every test. Oh, my father told me the fire department test coming out. Take that one. Sanitation's coming out. Take that one. Police, take that one. So I had took the police exam with my brother Jason, and I scored pretty well. I think I got a 95 or something, and I was at the top of the list. I think I was like in the top 500 on that list or whatever. And I never really knew I wanted to be a cop. You know what I'm saying? It was like something that was just, that's like the last resort type of thing. You know what I mean?
Like, I'll take the test, but I'm really waiting for the fire department. Yeah.
But what happened was we had my son, Nicholas, and I had a wife and a baby and no health insurance. And my first job out of college, married with a baby, was working for Derny Plumbing, which, thank you for that job, making $50 a day with no health insurance. So there's a letter in the mail. Now, I turned down housing and I turned down transit because it was 3 different departments back then in 95.
So a lot of people, just to build on that, a lot of people don't know that NYPD was 3 different jobs.
Separate departments.
Housing, separate departments. Housing, transit, and NYPD.
And NYPD, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to be.
Yeah, they all merged in what, 95?
Maybe shortly after, maybe 97 or 98.
Yeah.
But not far after 95 for sure.
Yeah.
So it was funny because I was like, I don't want to be on the trains every day of my career. That's kind of beat, right? That doesn't sound fun. I don't want to be in housing projects. You know what I mean? I don't know nothing about that, Right. And then when the regular PD came, Carrie says, "Oh, you got a letter from the PD." I said, "Oh, open it. What does it say?" It says, "You might be eligible for the next class." I said, "Oh, I don't know, Carrie. Do you think I could be a cop? Think that's a good idea?" Yeah, I think it's a good idea. So anyway, she goes, "Do they have health insurance?" I said, "Yeah, I think it's actually pretty good." She goes, "Sign the paper. You'll make a great cop." And dude, right in. And then I got kind of lucky because there was so many people that took those tests back in those days in the 90s. Like 40 or 50,000 people would take each test. So this is how old the city is. So funny sometimes. So we have to go to Queens, and if you took this test, you had to stand on this corner. If you took this test, you stand on that corner. And my test, so there was like 400 guys in the corner here, 400 guys in the corner there. My test had like only 100 guys because it was the newest test with the highest scores. And the old tests were like the bottom of the barrel type of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, they go, "Okay, everybody on that corner stay," because that's the old exam. Everybody on that corner stay. And everybody on this corner, meaning me, you guys can go home. Maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't. Dude, I freaked out. I was like, I need this job. Like, then I started to think like, I need a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I ran to the payphone and I called my investigator, this guy Haggerty. I'm like, "Hey, Detective Haggerty, it's Josh Calacanis. I'm getting investigated." He's like, "Yeah, how are you?" I said, "Not good, man." I said, "I'm outside. They told me to go home." He goes, "All right, so go home." I need this job. I was like, I really need this job. I really want to be a cop and I need this job. He's like, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm on the corner of, I don't even know where it was, 35th Avenue and 37th Street and 40th Place. You know how the Queens is.
Fucking Queens.
So he goes, "Dude," "Stay right there." I swear to God, he said, "Stay right there." This is why sometimes you got angels in your life,
Yeah.
And he comes out and he meets me and he's like, "Dude," he's like, "calm down." He's like, "Really, calm down." He's like, "What are you getting all excited about?" I said, "No." I said, "I'm married. I have a baby. I really need this job. I really do." You know what I mean? And he's like, "No problem." He's like, you're going to get in." He's like, "They have to clean up these last 2 exams. This is the end of it." He's like, "And even if you don't make it into the academy right now, like to get signed in, get sworn in at night," he said, "you'll probably be a backfill." Because say, I think if 2,500 people got hired and we went to Brooklyn College to get orientation. And he said, he goes, at every orientation, we lose like 300 guys. So they're going to backfill. He goes, "So you'll probably be good, just at least being in the backfill." So I was like, all right. He calmed me down. He made me feel a little bit better about it. I was still nervous. And then sure enough, I got called like 2 weeks later and I got it.
So I was going to ask you, how
it wasn't long. Yeah. Thank God, and I was really, and who knew that I would love this job. So I loved being a New York City cop. I mean,
did you really?
I absolutely loved it. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. It got tough at the end and there's a burnout ratio on that job for sure. And I always say the hardest job in the world is being a cop. And even harder than that is being a New York City cop, and you see with, it's really a very difficult job, very challenging, especially the younger you are. Sometimes when you're young, it's an advantage because you don't know any better. You're just doing stuff, you know what I mean? And trying to do it right. And then you're not salty and angry yet. You know what I mean? So that works in your favor sometimes. Oh, that's my boy, Matty Hellman, one of my best, dearest friends I ever made in the police department. Nice. That's young Josh. And that's my little baby girl. That's Olivia. Wow. That is awesome. That's great, that's a really, I just ran into him too a couple of weeks ago in Staten Island. The greatest guy in the world. The greatest. Nice. And now he actually, he does Selena Gomez. He does EP, executive protection for Selena. Oh, nice. Matty. Yeah. That's great. Everybody from my precinct, the 6-7, there was tons of guys. Most guys were from Bay Ridge, Bensonhurst, Rockaway guys, Flatbush guys, and we all grew up the same way. We all, and a couple of them are really good friends that I grew up with in the schoolyard. Yeah. So we really had a great crew of young guys that really wanted to do the job. You know what I mean? It was really cool. It was really.
How did you get into the Street Narcotics Enforcement Unit, the SNEU? Right?
Yeah,
SNEU team.
Yeah, SNEU. So when I got on the job, I actually was assigned to the 6-6 precinct in Borough Park, and I had asked my father, who's a friend of his, Doc Savage, said, let me know where your son wants to go and we'll get him there. And I was just thinking, because I was a new dad and, a little bit nervous to be a new dad and very young. And I was like, maybe I should just go to the closest precinct to my house, you know what I mean, that I can get into. And just, when I get home, I could be there and then Carrie can go to work, you know what I mean? Or just be close. So I did that. And he got me to the 6-6 and it was great. I loved it. But I only did a couple of months there. And then right after that, they took one cop from each precinct in Brooklyn South and put them in the 6-7 to be the original conditions unit to go after quality of life crimes. That was Rudy Giuliani's thing. Yeah. And Jack Maple with the broken windows, you know what I mean? Syndrome, like that book. So we were the prototype unit, the first condition unit in the whole city of New York. So we got sent there, one cop from each precinct. Matty came from the 7-2. My partner, Roddy Collins, from the 7-0. So it was all of us, and we just were in this unit. And they gave us a sergeant who used to be a highway cop. This guy, Buckridge, God rest his soul, he's not here any longer. So we all worked together, and we had Monday and Tuesday off and worked 6 at night to 2 in the morning for 2 years. The worst schedule you could ever have. But what we were doing was we were doing urinating on the sidewalk, summonses, riding a bike on the sidewalk. We would do in our neighborhood in East Flatbush. They had big jump up parties where they would just throw speakers up in the middle of the street at 2 in the morning and throw a mad block party. So we were doing enforcement with that. Then all of a sudden we got into doing social clubs and nightclubs, like illegal nightclubs. And we were like doing that. So we kept doing new stuff. And because we were the prototype unit, the upper echelon, Timlin, Patty Timlin, and a couple of the other guys, they all got promotions because of the stuff that we were doing. You know what I mean? Because we were young cops that didn't know anybody, just taking orders. And they were like, okay, go take those speakers down. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? All right. And go do it and go raid this place. Okay. And we did it. But it worked out amazingly good because after we did that, a couple of the captains and inspectors got promotions and they wanted to reward us, And they said, after your 2 years are up, because they weren't going to keep us forever, they said you could either go back to your command where you came from, you can go anywhere you want in the city, or you can stay here and we'll try to get you into detail. And I was like, I talked to a couple of my boys, Matty Hellman, Roddy. I'm like, yo, fellas, Joe DeLuca. I'm like, could we get into the SNEU team? Yeah. And there was a sergeant there, Paulie Weigel, the greatest guy in the world. What a tremendous sergeant. He says, I don't really want you guys, not in a bad way. So we got in because we didn't have experience. So we got in with like 2.5 years on into the SNEU team. So a lot of people in the precinct were a little bit like, who are these guys? What are they doing? But we were really getting good at our jobs very quickly, and then we started getting gun collars because, they pull over the guy who's peeing on the thing or selling the drugs. Maybe he's got the gun. And that happened over and over again, There was one time me and Roddy Collins are driving. We were going to go see his girlfriend lived across the way. It was now his wife. She lived in like Flatbush, across Flatbush Avenue. So he just wanted to go say hello, drop something off. So we're in a cop van and we're on Avenue H. And all of a sudden, dude, he sees, we're looking, he's driving, I'm in the passenger seat, we're looking, and all of a sudden, this big dude is dragging this girl across the street by her pocketbook, right? And it's a Chase Bank. It's probably still there, Avenue H in Flatbush Avenue. Dude, all of a sudden, the guy pulls out a gun, he goes, boom! Dude, we look at each other, we go, holy shit. All of a sudden, the guy starts running. I go, Roddy, pull the car over. So Roddy pulls the car over. I jump out of the car. The guy still got the gun in his hand. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, this stuff pops off like when you're a cop. It's crazy.
He shot the woman that he was pulling across the street?
He missed her, thank God. So as I'm chasing him, Roddy takes off in the van. Dude, the guy's running. He throws the gun. I'm yelling at him, I'm going to shoot you in the back. I mean, I don't know what to say. You know what I mean? I've never been in a situation like this in my life. He runs up on the stoop. He's about 6'3". I'm a shrimp. You know what I mean? I'm a midget, stumpy, you know? And I was like, get on the ground. I mean, I was like, you know, wrap it all up. He's got a knife on him. So that was a big deal. That was like a big collar. You know what I mean?
I mean, right in front of your eyes, the guy's shooting at a woman, trying to pull
another one.
Oh,
There was a lot of livery cab like jacks, you know, people jacking the livery cab drivers at night.
Yeah.
So another time, I'm driving. I'm behind like a livery cab at like 2 a.m. And I go, look at this guy. Must be drunk driving. And the car's swerving and swerving. So we just throw the lights on. All of a sudden, dude, the car goes in park. 2 guys get out and start running. I run out of the car and I look in the livery cab and there's a gun on the seat. And I went like, I was like to the passenger. He goes, they just robbed me. So he was getting robbed.
Yeah.
We chase the kids, we get the guns, we get the 2 guys, you know, and it's just because when you're in the police department and you're just roaming around the neighborhood that people do bad things in, you know, bad things that happen in front of you sometimes. So we started to learn, you know, like how to do stuff. So we were getting good. And then they rewarded us, which was incredible, even though we were very young and probably really didn't have any business being a street narcotic unit. But when we got in there, Paulie Weigel, we had a team meeting and he's like, guys, he goes, we had a couple of senior guys, Maddie and Vic, my very dear friend from the old neighborhood. And they said, we really don't want you here. You're not ready for this. But
we just took 2 guns off the street.
Right. What, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But, you know, we took it serious and we were good at it. You know, had our fun too, for sure. And he said, I really don't want you here because you have no experience, which was the total right thing to do. You know what I mean? And a good boss. But he said, but I have you, you're mine, and I'm going to make you guys good cops. And we did really have the best cops in the city of New York in the 6-7. I swear by that statement for my whole life. Tremendous police officers. And we learned, you know, and we learned from the senior guys and we got ourselves into some scary situations for sure. You know, I mean, I could go on and on. I have 100 cop stories, but it just, you know, it's a dangerous business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, so much so that right before we got there was a bad shooting. And then in 1998, May 26th, not to really go down a rabbit hole, Anthony Massimillo got shot and killed that morning in the 6-7, one of our guys. And he was the union rep, you know, for the police.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had just spoken to him like 2 days before that because I got myself in a little trouble. Yeah. And I got called to the captain's office and he's like, don't ever go in there without representation. He gave me like a little bit of a like, you got to talk to me first. Like really. And he was 100% right. So that was an awful tragedy. You know what I mean? So I went through like a line of duty.
I didn't remember that, man. Oh man.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Another bad one was, Federico Navarez. He got shot and killed in a 7-0. That was an awful situation. We hear a shooting go on in the next precinct and we all jump in the cars and shoot over there. And we pull down the block. I think it was E17 Street off Beverly Road. And I'm running down the block and there's a cop laying on the floor. But there's a whole bunch of other activities going around the corner. And he's like, you know, the big garbage bags from the big apartment buildings, they're big black bags with a twist on them. Yeah. They look like a giant Tootsie Roll, but they're huge.
Yeah.
He was laying in that. Oof. And I'm like, holy shit. And they're like, the ambulance is coming. We got a cop down. And it was him. It was Lieutenant Navarez. Yeah. It's so sad. Wow. And I'm like, we got to get this garbage out of here. And dude, I'm a kid. I'm 25 years old. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, we clear out all the garbage. We lay him down. And we get him in on the gurney. The ambulance got in there. There was 100 cop cars around, like a movie. And they got down there somehow. We got him in, and I hear one of the cops saying, "Lou, you're going to be all right. Lou, you're going to be all right." I'm thinking his name is Lou, but then when we got back to the precinct, and we all kind of reconvened and did interviews about what happened. You know, it was a lieutenant. You know,
like so for a 6, like would you do 6 years on NYPD?
Just about 5 years.
Just about 6 years, and you responded to at least I don't know if anymore, but 2 officer involved. You know. Line of duty that's some guys don't go to that in their entire career or deal with something like that, and you went to 2 of them in that short 6-year career. That's tough, man.
Holy shit, it was totally it was really, you got really,
and being a kid, like you said, you're a kid.
I was a kid. I'll give you one more. Well, this is my first thing that happened to me. So we were in the conditions unit, And if there was an extra need, we had the borough upstairs. If they needed another body for something, like to drive the chief or to do something, they would take one of us because we were expendable. There was 12 of us at first. You know what I mean?
Right.
So one day, I'm not even there a year, I don't think. And they said, "Oh, you got to drive the duty chief." Dude, I'm scared to death. I got to drive the duty chief. I go up to the office, bro. This duty chief looks like my grandfather. You know what I mean? He's got a cigar. He's, I mean, a burly guy, tough Irish dude. And I wound up seeing him in Breezy later. That's
old school guys,
tough dude, bro. Like, and I was like, "How you doing, chief?" I was like, "My name's Josh Calacanis. I'm downstairs in the 6th." I had no idea what to say. He goes, "All right, yeah." He's like, "All right, you driving me tonight, kid?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, no problem. Give me some time. Go downstairs and wait for me." I said, "Okay, no problem." I go down. He goes, "We already got something. We got to take a ride." I said, "Okay, this is a horrible story." But it just speaks to what we're going to get into later, which is like this compounding effect of traumatic experiences, that can affect you down the road if you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
So we pull up around a corner in Church Avenue, closer to Ocean Avenue, more towards the 7-0 side. And we get out and there's detectives' cars, cop cars, everything. And I'm like, okay. We go into this building. They're like, "Hey, chief, how are you?" They give them a salute. "How you doing?" They're like, "The only way to get out into the courtyard is the window." You know, like the old school, like, you know, when you go into an H-type building, right? In the middle, they have like these beautiful windows, these beautiful stained glass windows. And he opened the window and the chief, they put a little ladder from the chief, got out, went to the courtyard. I went to the courtyard. And it's so horrifying to even say it was a baby under a blanket. Yeah, under a blanket. Yeah. And he says, "Okay, kid." He goes, "Come here for a minute." So he's got to take his little pad and pen and write some stuff down and who was here. And he goes, "You," to me. I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Find out what apartment line this is." This is like, even we think about this stuff, right? Apartment lines.
Yeah.
Like, find out what apartment line this is, where these windows are. Underneath where the baby was, above the baby. He says, "Knock on every door, write down everybody's name. If you see anything that looks a little off, or a young girl or something, you know what I mean? Come down, don't say anything, just come down with all the information and give it to me." I said, "Okay, no problem." Do the whole thing. But then I said, before I left, I thought to myself, I'm like, I just had a baby. You know what I mean? My wife just had a baby in May 24th, 95. I had Nicky boy.
Yeah.
And I said, dude, in my naivety, I said, "Yo, chief," I said, "by the way," I said, "we don't got to do that." I said, "We could find out who the mom is. We just take the baby's footprint. I just had a baby, you know."
Yeah.
They take the footprint, for the birth certificate. And he looks at me and he goes, "Kid, this baby was not born in no hospital. It was probably born on the roof."
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I can remember being rocked to my core. I was like, somebody would do that? You know what I mean? I was like, I was just completely like, I was like, okay. And then, there was another thing over here under a blanket. The placenta was over there. Like, it was horrifying, dude.
Being a young cop, exposes you to the fucking horrors of this world.
Totally, dude. And you better harden up quick.
Yeah. And they're
I went home and cried, dude. I was like in my car going home crying. I was like, I can't even believe what I just saw. This is like the craziest shit ever.
Yeah.
But you just like, dude, if you're going to do the business, it's part of the job, man. And you got to harden up to this shit. Like, and I did over time, even though I still have a soft heart for a lot of things and a lot of people, you know what I mean? That really rocked me to my core, man. It really did.
So you started out your career in law enforcement first just being a first responder with something like that, two line of duty cop shootings. Like, that's a heavy amount of stuff.
And I never, just to this minute, I never thought of it like that. Just to this minute, I was just saying it out loud and we're talking about it. I'm like, I never even thought about it, because when you're young and you have a young family and you work in two jobs, because I was an electrician, dude, I would get on the train with a pistol in my waistband and a 50-pound Klein bag in between my legs and go to Manhattan and go twist wires. And then I'd go to be a cop. And then I get a ride home from one of the guys at night. It was like crazy. So when you're young, that's one thing I was saying before, to go back to that. Like, when you're young and dumb, I guess you would say, and you just got to keep moving. You got to put food on the table. You got to work. You know what I mean? There's a lot of shit going on in your life that you got to take care of and manage.
Yeah.
Right. You just do it. You keep doing it. And then all of a sudden you're at the end. You know what I mean? And it's like, I didn't even notice it until now and took the time to look back. Just like Eileen Ballou was saying, right? She was so busy being a mom and taking care of those kids and doing all that kind of stuff. Like maybe she didn't take time to grieve, or maybe she didn't take time. Remember, she said to tell her children about what happened. You know what I mean? Like that stuck with me. Like her saying that, like, because you just keep moving, you know, and that's how we all survive. You know what I mean? So that's a message to everybody out there. Yeah, you got to keep moving. Like, no matter the pain. Yeah.
You have to.
I just remember that.
Family, you know, you have a family, you got kids, you got work, you got to keep moving.
Yeah.
What do you do? Give up? You're not going to give up on your family, man. So,
it's like you got to just hustle, you know. So, like you're just moving, you know.
Yeah.
But I really, and even in the beginning, like in the I love people. I love joking around, messing around. The academy was hilarious. You know what I mean? Like the police academy, it was amazing. It was so much fun. And then the crazy thing was in the police academy, they put us out for 9 months, dude, in gray shirts with a P cap. We were the first academy to do field training, and I was the first academy in the police fire department to do field training as well. The 14 weeks.
Right. When you sent me that field, I was
top of the list. You know, we were the first class.
Training.
No big deal.
Yeah.
So listen to what happens. So we go there, and then they put us out for Christmas time. But dude, the Pope came in like that as that was going on. We were out. It was amazing, dude. The Pope was here. I got assigned. We all did, the whole academy class, to line up outside the downtown heliport. Wow. This is why when you're a cop, sometimes it's amazing. I saw him twice. I saw him once when he was in the Pope mobile, you know.
Yeah,
and you're not
John Paul.
And you're not supposed to turn around. You're supposed to face the crowd. But when the Pope is coming by you, I was like, if I get fired, I don't care. I'm like, please give me a blessing. God, I need a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Like, over here. And these people too. You know,
hey, Bob, I want you to throw me down a blessing or two. I'm getting into a fight.
Father Carmine. Throw down a couple of prayers so I don't get beat up tonight. That's one of my favorites of all time. Oh my God. So I'm looking at the Pope like, you know, bro, please help me out, you know? So I mean, Father, you know. So it was really amazing. It's kind of like, you know, it takes your breath away. It really does.
It's a once in a lifetime thing almost.
It was. So then the next day he was leaving, and now we get assigned to the downtown heliport. We met Giuliani. We took pictures with him. It was pretty cool. Yeah. And then there's all these sanitation rigs that have to block full of sand in case somebody wants to bash through the barriers, the whole bit. Dude, I'm standing there. My toes are at the gate of the downtown heliport. I'm like, how did I get here? I feel like Forrest Gump, you know what I mean? All of a sudden I hear this rumble like I never heard in my life. And down from the FDR, dude, 50 motorcycles, bro. I was like, this is so sick. You know, maybe I'll do that someday, get on a bike. You know what I mean?
Dude, more security than the president of the United States.
It was incredible. And they just rumbled down the ramp, and then they came around. They swung around by the ferry, and they came right, dude, like I could touch them, and bike after bike. And then, dude, the limo with the Pope in it stops right in front of my face. Right in front of me, dude. And I'm like, the Pope is looking out the window. He's like,
did he go, hey, I remember you from yesterday.
That was me in the P hat. Yeah.
How'd that bread go? How'd that blessing go?
So, but I'm just saying, it's like, you know, these things happen. And I can't even tell you, I was literally like moved. My whole body shook. You know what I mean? I was like, and he gave me a little blessing. And then, you know, they opened up the gate. They pulled the sanitation rigs out. And boom, and he went in, and then I saw him get on the plane. It was pretty amazing. You know what I mean?
I've heard that from other cops who've been on details with the Pope around, and they were very close to him, and they're like, you feel it, like you can feel the inside, like, you know, his presence and stuff.
Yeah, so it was really amazing. So I really had a lot of fun, you know. You know, going through the academy and stuff, and being places where, you know, only being a cop could take you. You know,
right. But you had. You know, when did you take the fire department test? When you know, how did you know?
So two times, same thing, right? All the guys talked, fire department. My dad said the fire department's coming out, you know, take the test, blah, blah, blah. So I sign up for the test. I get 100, and I'm in college playing rugby, and I am literally, I'm never really a workout guy. I was never in like great shape, you know, to my fault, and I'm, you know, whatever. But at this particular time, I was in the greatest shape of my life. Like we were doing Indian runs, you know, where the last guy has to beat the first guy, and you just do them for hours. And we really were a fit unit, you know. And I was really in good shape. And then when I got there, the captain who was running it from the fire department says, is everybody here, you all got hundreds on the written. Are you in tip-top physical condition? Do you have any ailments or any problems, you know? and I had the most recent game, I had broke my thumb. But I was still able to grip, you know what I mean? I was still able to grip, and I would feel so charged up to take this test. I felt prepared. And I didn't say anything in front of anybody, you know how you get that little skittish. You're like, I'm just the captain of the fire department. Like, who am I, you know?
Like, I'm not gonna
and then at the end, everybody starts to get their number to go do their thing and their proctor to do the exam. And then all of a sudden I said, let me just tell him. I said, sorry, I didn't want to say this in front of the group or anything. I was like, but I did break my thumb 2 weeks ago. You know, I said, I feel good now. But I broke my thumb. He goes, you can't take this test with a broken thumb. He goes, you have to get 100 on this test. You have to get 100 on this test, or else you don't get the job on the physical, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, please. He goes, it'll take, he goes, I'm going to give you a thing. Come back in 2 months. Fine. I come back in 2 months, dude. And I'm like nervous to take the test. I wasn't before. I felt prepared, but I overthought it. And and if you remember this physical, I read the thing too much. I read the thing way too much, like all the different activities you had to do, you know, the different evolutions.
Yeah.
And there was one, the easiest one was pulling the rubber hose around the rollers with the yellow band on it. You had to pull the 50 feet around. The easiest one there is. The night before, I'm reading it, and it says, push or pull the hose. You know what I mean? So I'm pushing and pulling. I look ridiculous. I'm like, the guy's like, he goes, what the fuck are you doing? That's what I got. I'm like, the guy goes, what are you doing? I said, it said push and pull, push and pull. I'm yelling, push and pull. The guy goes, no, it's push or pull. He goes, drop it and start pulling. So he was cheering me on. He wanted me to win. Dude, I missed it by a millisecond. And then you had to hit, if you remember, you had to hit the button. Dude, red light. Dude, red light, not a green light. Dagger in my heart. Dagger in my heart. I would have got on a 95 because when I was in the police academy, there was a guy that went to 168 truck. Oh, his name's escapes me right now. Dude, he was in the academy for a week. And he goes, bye, guys, in the police academy. I said, where were you going? He goes, I just got called for the fire department. I was like, oh, you bastard. You know, he was the first. He was the first. He was top of the list, you know, first class, which I wind up being second time around. But, you know, be that as it may.
You had an advantage. You knew what was coming.
I did. But actually, one thing I wanted to say, too, they were running, physicals up at the Rock to train prior to you taking the exam, if you remember that. So I signed up for it. I went up there. And I remember they were talking to us, like preparing us for the training. And I'm looking at the big patch. Remember the big stained glass patch in the auditorium at the Rock? You know, where the old wagon is, you know, the old pumper, steam pumper. Yeah. And I'm looking at that patch and I'm really, Kenny, and you probably did it too, and every fireman probably did it too. Like, I'm like, can I do this job? Everything in my body wants to do it. I want to do it. You know what I mean? I want to be a New York City firefighter. Like, to me, it's like playing for the Yankees. Like, you're the best in the world. Like, that's it. Everybody loves you. You're the best in the world. And you actually really help people, which is, you know, a gift. To be able to help people for a living is an absolute gift that I don't take lightly. No one should.
But am I worthy to do this job? Can I fill these shoes of the men that came before me in this job? Yeah. You think of like,
or can I do it? Or can I do it? Can I go into a burning building, not seeing, and put a fire out? Can I throw myself off the roof of a building on a rope? I don't know. I mean, I hope that I would do it. I hope that I could do it. You know what I mean?
They're going to train me to do it, right?
They're going to train me to do it.
They're not just going to throw me off.
But I had that serious trepidation. You know what I mean? Yeah. But again, right, one foot in front of the other. I'm like, no, you want to do it. Your grandfather's a fireman. You've always been thinking about it your whole life. Think about the lifestyle you could have. You know what I mean? And it was really like, I really had to get up the courage to do it. So I failed the first physical. So I would have been in the top of the class, obviously 100 and 100 with the 5-point residency. You're in the top of the class. But I don't. But I fail it. You know what I mean? And I became number 7,000. They're never going to get to you back then. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was very depressing, actually. It was like really, really depressing.
I got a similar story. I wound up, it was the hose pull, right? I got 100 on the written. I go to Pudgy Walsh to do the physical. Yep. But if I remember correctly, Pudgy Walsh, the hose pull, the hose wasn't charged, right? But with the test, it was, I think. And I was expecting when I got there, I was all psyched up, in great shape, psyched up for the test, knew it was coming. And I'm expecting big burly firemen to be my proctors. And I had these little old ladies going, oh, here you go, move this. And I'm like, where are the firemen rooting me on?
Where are the men? Yeah.
So
cheering me on.
I'm doing everything right, no problem. I start the hose pull, and I'm standing like 5 feet further away than I can be. Like I could be up on the line. And I start pulling. I'm like, man, this hose is, it's a lot harder than I remember in Pudgy Walsh's thing. I'm telling you, I was almost done. And the woman goes, oh, you could have stood up here. So I run to stand up there and I pull it, no problem. Millisecond, boom, same thing, millisecond. I didn't, and I walked out of there. I said, I'm not getting this job. That's it. I'm done.
You didn't know. There was no green light, red light at that time?
I don't remember the green light, red light.
Yeah.
I just remember I was over time or something like that by like a millisecond. And it was a dagger in my heart. And I cried when I walked out. I said, I'm not getting this job. My dream. I'm going to be too old for the next test. But I wound up being like 3,000 on the list. So I was high enough where, you know, I got on the job. So,
it worked out.
It was
awful.
My language, but that was, I said, my dream is over. That's it. I'm not getting this job. And I cried. Absolutely. So I know how you felt.
Me too.
Yeah.
Another funny thing that happened was the first time I took the physical, at the end, I was completely shot, mentally, physically exhausted. So I go over to triage. EMS is, you know, putting me in all sorts of things. You know, I puke in the garbage can, you know, and I'm a mess. And then they have cots. Dude, I lay on the cot. Bro, I fall asleep for 2 hours. I swear to God. I swear. So,
he's going to be a perfect fireman.
He's in training. So, dude, so the next time I take the physical, you know, whatever it was, 7 years later, you know what I mean? I had to wait so long, forget about it, you know?
Yeah.
I do the same shtick, the same routine, and I'm exhausted at the end, but I'm feeling better about it because I didn't at least fail anything. And, dude, all of a sudden, I'm getting wobbly and dizzy. I go over to the triage. I puke in the same exact thing. I puke in the thing. They're giving me salts or whatever the fuck, the Gatorade drips. I don't know what they give me. Something like that.
Yeah.
And I look up to the guy and go, what, this shit no cots?
You said that to him?
I go, where's the cots this time? It was hysterical.
It was probably like
the previous one. He knew. He was like, no cots this year, sorry.
Budget cuts, bro.
It's budget cuts, totally. No cots. It was so funny. So then I fell asleep in my car for a little while, and then I went right to the cemetery. I went right to my grandfather's grave.
Yeah.
You know, I went there before I took the test and after. And I just said, thank you, Grandpa.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, because when I walked in to get ready to take the physical, there was a janitor in there sweeping. And he goes, oh, how you doing? I said, oh, good. Yeah. He goes, well, you must be one of the top guys in here. This is like the first week they're doing this, you know? I'm like, oh, yeah, this is awesome because I got 105 points. Yeah. So then when I leave, I didn't know how I did really. I kind of felt like I did good, but for some reason I wasn't exactly sure, like kind of you felt.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I had this paper in my hand. It was like maybe pink or yellow paper. And he goes, hey, I saw the guy again. He goes, hey, my man, you're going to get that job. He said, you did good. I said, what do you mean I'm going to get the job? He goes, you see that paper in your hand? That means you got 100. You're going to be a New York City fireman. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Dude, I was like elated, bro. I was like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it was great. It was really great.
That's great,
God,
man.
thank you. Yeah, it was really amazing.
You got into probie school, and you were the first class to do field training. And you went to Ladder 7 and Engine 16. Tell me about that a little bit.
That was interesting. I was in 9.5 months in the police academy. We wanted to kill each other at a certain point. You know, you can't be with guys like it's a long time.
Long time, man.
So we're in the academy and great guys. It was February 4th of 01. We were the top of the list, first class, and really an amazing group of guys. You know. And they got up there and said, this is the top of the list. There'll be more chiefs made out of this class than any other in the history of the department. Everybody's like, yeah, there are a bunch of chiefs, but there's also not. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm not.
Yeah. So we're going through the academy. There's a couple of funny stories about the academy too. So one of the guys who was in the academy, it was February. I'm telling you, when I say freezing, it was insanely cold. So one of the guys was a boiler mechanic. And if you remember, I don't know when you were there, they had the trailers in the back of like the building one. They were like metal trailers where you got changed in your bunker pants and the rubber boots and everything. We had the rubber boots on, not even the bunker, not the true boots that you have today. So anyway, he says, I can fix it. Bro, the next day he brings in the toolkit, like sneaks it in his bag. Zip, 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 boom. Dude, the next morning, dude, it's like 70 degrees in there, which is better than 10 degrees. You know what I mean?
Wait, one of the probies brought in their stuff
and he fixed the boiler. He fixed the boiler. Yep. It was amazing. So anyway, dude, it took less than 24 hours for the instructors to figure out that one of the guys fixed the boiler. Dude, all the wires gone. Boiler's broken.
Oh, man.
Bro, hysterical.
That's funny.
So I have engine company operations the next week after the boiler's broken the second time, So I put these thick, this is funny. Like, you remember how the what do you call it? The guys used to hide behind the mailbox when you were on the way into the academy. We had one guy used to hide behind the mailbox. We called him the Cuban Nightmare.
Mailbox.
As you're walking into the Rock, you're taking the street up. On the left-hand side, there's a mailbox right there. Right before you get across the threshold where the gate is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The second gate. So where building 1 is. So there's a mailbox there. So I got thick gray socks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? I got thick gray socks on because my boots are going to be frozen. They were wet yesterday. They got put into a 10-degree ice, machine. They're going to be frozen. So I'm walking in. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. Obviously, everybody's tired in the academy. All of a sudden, the fucking instructor jumps out from behind a mailbox. He goes, "Where does the second roofman go at a multiple dwelling fire? And what does he bring with him?" I'm like, "Hey, man," I'm just yelling shit out. Then he grabs my pant leg and he rips up my pant leg. And he's like, "Gray socks. Gray fucking socks. I can see what kind." Oh, it's Campese. That's who it was. It was Campese from Ladder 107. He was a maniac. He's like, "You're just going to be one of those firemen who thinks he can do whatever the fuck he wants, whenever he wants to do it, laying on the couch. I can't wait to see you at lunch." Dude, rips me like you can't believe. At lunchtime, where's Cali? He's got a list of names. Where's Calacanis? All the guys that failed the quizzes, on the way in when he jumped out of the mailbox.
Yeah.
Where's Calacanis and your squad leader? Bro, we had to do push-ups, me and the squad leader, the entire lunch period. We didn't get to eat the entire lunch period. Push-ups. We got tired.
Was like, come on, man. We took so much shit for our squads. I was a squad leader.
We did. Yeah, it was funny.
And they would grab me, so many times and be like, "This guy's screwing up."
Oh, you were a squad leader?
I was a squad leader.
That makes sense.
This guy's screwing up, and they would bring me in. Like, they would do all sorts of stuff. I'm like, come on, man, really?
Totally. That was just
because I went in 2.5 years after you. I went in September 2003. You went in February of 2001.
Did you have Higgins? Did you have Joe Higgins? The greatest of all time.
I believe I did.
He was the head instructor. The head what do you call it? DI, drill instructor. He was the head of the drill instructors. He was awesome. And Donnie
Wunderlich was one of my instructors.
Yeah, I didn't have him.
Or drill instructor.
I had him, Maldonado, Campese, the Cuban Nightmare, we called him. These are all the drill instructors, And actually, Eileen Blue's brother-in-law, Danny Blue from 28 Truck, his dad was my ropes instructor. What a gentleman. Absolute gentleman. He was.
The rope guys were great, man. I remember
they were the best. They were the best.
Yeah,
so at the end of the academy, right, just to fast forward a little bit, they like let you get up and make fun of all the instructors. So I got up there and I did like 5 different instructors. But the last one I did was the Cuban guy, We had this crazy accent, So one Friday, he's yelling at all of us. We do 400 push-ups, you know what I mean? Like to the point we're all dying. And he said, "Okay, this weekend, you're going to go out. You're going to go drinking with the girls. You're going to go crazy. You better not do it." And he's screaming at us, you know what I mean? He's like, "You go out. You're going to go disco dancing. You better not do it. You better stay home and study. You got exams on Monday." Freaking out on us, you know what I mean? And we're like, "Okay, so..." He goes, "And the last thing, you don't go sliding into second base on a softball game, and you don't go like this with the skateboard. You don't go like this in the skateboard. Don't do it." We all look at each other and go, "We're 30-year-old men. Who the fuck has got a skateboard in a skate park?"
And he really talked like that, the guy?
Totally 100%. Ask anybody. It was amazing. So I got up and I did the skateboard, bro. Oh, so much fun.
He probably was like...
Oh, he was pissed. Yeah, he was pissed. He didn't get it. So to get back to the field training, it was a new program they did, I guess, to cut down from the rotation. You know what I mean? Because everybody was on rotation during 9/11 and stuff like that. So maybe they wanted to still do that, but do it in a different way. I'm not sure. Yeah. But I thought it was amazing. So I really got very lucky. They did it by alphabetical order, like A, B, C. So Calacanis, me and Cullen Brennan from Ladder 103, we went to 16. He went to the engine first, and I went to 7 truck first. And it was April and May. It was hot as hell around that time for some reason of 2001. And I have to say this, like I worked with really great firemen. One of the guys came up to me and he said, if you can be an OV in Manhattan, you can be an OV anywhere. You know, like it's kind of true, you know, and then I didn't really know what he meant.
Yeah.
And then the first night tour I worked, it was a night tour, the first tour, a guy, Bob Fody, got arrested. So he died on 9/11. We're eating dinner and he goes, saw or plasma cutter, or, you know, the cutter, you know, torch.
Yeah.
He goes, saw or torch? I was like, torch. He goes, I would have said saw, but okay. I didn't even know what he was talking about. All of a sudden we finished the meal. I mop up, I clean up everything. He goes,
oh, he didn't give you any context. He just asked you
nothing. He just looked at me and said, saw or torch?
Yeah.
And I said torch. I was a plumber, you know, I could use torches, you know. That's what I figured. You know.
Right.
He goes, I would have said saw, but okay. After the meal's over, we clean up, and he comes, he goes, I'm like, okay, come with me. He goes, grab the torch. You know how to use it? I said, no, I never seen a torch like this, because it had both. It had the acetylene and the oxygen, you know, you got it with the regulator, you know. And he goes, okay, I'm going to show you. And then we're going to go cut something. I said, okay. I mean, my first night, I loved him so much. And he turned it on. He goes, okay. Now he takes a lock and he locks the scuttle cover to the roof with a padlock, but a big hardened padlock. And he's like, cut that. Oh no, it was a puck lock. It was the round one, the puck lock. And he puts the puck lock on it. He's like, cut that off of there. Dude, I'm on the scuttle ladder. That's this big. You know what I mean? Leaning into the wall of the scuttle with this flaming 5,000, you know, temperature torch.
Never used before.
And I'm like, and he's cheering. He's like, good, yeah, keep going. I'm like, dude, I cut the thing in half. It's cherry red. It falls. It bounces off the floor. He kicks it all the way outside onto the curb, onto the apron. And then he says, now cut it in half. Finish the job. So I got the torch and I cut it in half. But I was torching the concrete and it spalded. So it blew the concrete up with the, you know, with the thing, dude. And he just started laughing and all the guys came out and they were like, yeah, you know, like it was just a really cool, you know. And then later that tour, I was working with Vinny Princiata too. Again, and I hate to say this, but he died in 9/11 also. They're such great guys. Man. So Vinny Princiata said, you're a truckee in Manhattan, you need this. And he gave me a 1620 key. Then Bob Fody said, you're a truckee in Manhattan. We can't break down every door we come across. It's not Brooklyn. We have some doors here that cost $12,000 or more, you know? And he gives me a shove tool. He goes, here's a shove tool, you know? And these guys were masters with that stuff. I mean, you know, I only did 7 weeks in the truck, but I learned a lot. And and Georgie Kane, of course, he was a deadhead and he was going to run the marathon that year. He passed away. Chucky Mendez and Vernon Richard. They named the fire department high school after him. They were just really great house. And ironically, it's weird. They had the 23rd Street fire, October 17th, 1966, I think it was. You know, 12 guys died. And they had the bulk of those line of duty deaths. So prior to 9/11, that firehouse, one of the guys there told me, Finley, his actually grandfather died in the fire. He said, this firehouse has the most line of duty deaths of any firehouse in the city of New York.
Wow.
Interesting, which means the world, you know what I mean? But it was pretty wild. But it was a really awesome place and they really treated us great. And Mickey Cross was the engine boss there, who has a, you know, incredible 9/11 story. I think he was in the stairwell that collapsed, you know. He was awesome. They were just such great guys. So we were out for the 14 weeks, 7 truck, 7 engine. And then we go back to the academy, and then we wind up graduating in like the end of June, you know, and that was fun.
Do you remember? I mean, where did you catch your first fire? So
that's crazy. So I'm in 7 truck, and we get a car accident underneath the FDR Drive on 34th Street, right? So I get off the rig, but I don't have anything with me because I don't think I need a hook and a can for a car fire. You know what I mean? I mean a car accident. I shouldn't say car accident. A car accident. And the guy goes, oh, one of the guys, I think it might have been Georgie Kane. He said, what are you doing? Don't ever get off the fucking rig without tools in your hand. And I was like, oh, sorry. You know, I didn't know. I made a stupid probie mistake. I run back, I get my shit on. Then I forgot my fucking helmet. He goes, how about your fucking helmet? you know, I'm just a little discombobulated.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
when you start getting, when you're new, and you're just like, okay,
everything's everywhere here. So anyway, I come on. Hey, what do you mean me to do? What am I going to do here? I got to look. What am I going to do with this thing? So anyway, he goes, hold up the hood. So I hold up the hood. They take off the battery cables, the whole bit. And all of a sudden I hear, hey, Josh Calacanis, what are you doing over there? Or something like that. And I'm like, it can't be my name. And all of a sudden, hey, they said, do you know that guy over there? It's Mr. Ritchie's, Chief Ritchie's. He was the chief.
Wow,
yeah. And he's leaning back and he's like, he's so cool. He was always such a cool dude, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Josh, come over here, you know? So I'm like, hey, what's up, Mr. Ritchie's? How you doing? You know, and he had tried to help me, you know, navigate things when I was going through the physicals and stuff. And my heart rate was too high because, you know, I had a wedding the night before I took the, you know, the Stairmaster thing, you know, like Jimmy Stackpole was trying to help me. You know, it was very funny. You remember? Like just funny stuff. And he was in the headquarters at that time. So he's out in the street now in the field and he sees me. It was great. So now we have to get on the FDR drive, but we can't get off until 61st Street. So we're like in we're in 8 and 2's area, you know, like our secondary area really. So as we go up, when we were in an open cab, tower ladder, the old ones. So cool. Yeah. Yep. So the OV is Jackie Gleason. I forget his first name, but they called him Jackie Gleason. His name was Gleason. Such a great guy. So we're going up and now we get off on 61st Street and all of a sudden a fire comes in for like, I think 51st and 2nd or something. And the boss is like, you know, ladder 7 to Manhattan. We are literally 3 blocks away from this fire. Take it in, bro.
Yeah.
This kid, Nelson, was the irons man. I was the can man. I think this guy's name was Hodgins, was the boss. So I'm like bugging out. You know what I mean? My antenna's like, doo-doo-doo. My spidey sense is tingling. Yeah. And Jackie Gleason just has a big smile on his face, you know? And he's just like, cause he's in the open cab and he's looking down, you know, he's looking in the way we're driving. And he's like, oh yeah. He goes, it's probably going to be a job. It sounds like it. He goes, get yourself ready, get everything squared away, know where your shit is, you know, put your buckle on because that'll help you when you pull ceilings later. Like all the, like going really, like totally told me exactly what to do. And I was like, okay, that put me in another level. Like, I'm like, okay, I can do this. So we get to the door. Now, I'm sorry, we get to the block and he's looking up the avenue. He goes, no, we got a job, bro. Top floor. He's a top floor job. Looks like 4-story, top floor job. I mean, this is like, the fire department is the best. You know what I mean? Like he gave me everything I needed to know, you know, even though I had the nervous energy. So Nelson just got back from rotation from an engine. So he wasn't really, you know, the best with the tools yet, you know, when I was young. So dude, we beat the shit out of the door. And this is why I always had 3 chocks, the chock dropper of the 6th Division. Remember all the chocks I used to have in my helmet? Because it was the entrance door, the lobby door, and the apartment door. You know what I mean? And I learned it my first fucking fire because we hit the fucking door. We finally get that open. The lobby door's open. Boom. I mean, the entrance door's open.
Wait, is that how you got the nickname Joshy Chocks?
No, I gave that one to myself when I got I gotta be honest.
No, I just made that up, so I don't know.
I said I'm the chalk dropper. So anyway, I run out of chalks. I only had 2 chalks, one here, one there. You know what I mean? So then we do the vestibule door. We pop that door. Now we go all the way up and we get to the what do you call the apartment door? And I'm more chalks. You know, so it's just like I remember that, just, you know, distinctly. Like you learn stuff. Yeah. And then I also, again, remember how I was reading things? And I don't know if I heard it or I read it. Like, if you have to leave a tool, leave the hook at the door. You know what I mean? Or something like that. Always take your can. I'm like, all right, I don't know if I heard that from somebody. I don't know where I got that from. Anyway, we forced the door. We finally get in. And dude, I really beat the shit out of myself. Like, you know, I wasn't prepared for the adrenaline and the physical activity of it all. So anyway, we pop the door. We get in there. I got the can on my shoulder. I'm crawling around. I don't know where the fuck I'm going. I'm banging into shit.
You just don't know what you're doing, bro.
Then the line comes up. And they start operating, and the boss says, hey, take the fucking window, take the kitchen window. So like, the kitchen window. I was like, oh shit, I left my hook out. He goes, use the fucking can. Bro, I got the can on the leash. Bang, boosh. I was so happy. I was like, hey, where's the other window? You know?
you want to take every window in the building now.
I need more windows. You know, so then it came time to hook the ceiling, you know, which is a whole nother technique. You know, like it's a whole nother, like that's the thing. Like you keep going, like you never stop in the fire, you know? Yeah. So anyway, I get the hook and I got to pull the ceilings. And part of it was a closet, you know, which is like, you got to get in. It was like, oh, I broke my ass. And it was a hot day. And dude, of course, Chief Ritchie's has to come up and check on me. You know what I mean? I'm gassed, bro. I'm gassed. I'm on the bed. I'm like, my helmet's crooked. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, he walks right in. He's such a ball breaker. He goes, oh, man. He goes, you better start hitting the gym, brother.
All
You better
calm
start
and
hitting the
easy
gym.
like that.
Yeah, totally. He goes, you better start hitting the
funny.
gym, brother. He goes, I heard you had a little trouble with those doors. Now, I don't know if he knew he had trouble or, you know what I mean? He was
Bro,
just
even
breaking
if
my
you
balls.
did,
Yeah.
even if you popped that door in one swing
It was
or
so
one
funny.
force, guys are
Yeah,
going to break
he's
your
gonna
balls,
say,
man.
he's gonna say,
They're
he's
going
gonna
to say, oh,
say.
hey, man.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
But it went right to my heart. You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, Mr. Ritchie thinks I'm a piece of shit fireman. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, like, you know.
Yeah.
But that was my first fire, you know. And then of course
Nice,
we got back to
man.
the firehouse, yeah, and like the guys were just great. And then another night I went to the engine. So we had a job, second due to 5 engine, and they got a little busy area over there. You know, they go to some projects down there, so we were second due to them.
Yeah.
And we're getting home. It's 5 a.m, and we're parking the rig. And the Sopranos was big at the time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I look over. It's like just about to start get daylight, and I see Furio from the
No,
Sopranos.
yeah, really?
Yes, yeah. And the episode that just happened was the one where we smacked the doctor off the head when they were golfing. You got to be on your head, dude. I walk over to him, bro. I was like, I walk right over to him. I don't know, dude. I got no time on the job. I'm not even graduated. I walk right over to him. I go, hey, you got to be on your hat. And I go like this to crack him. He starts dying laughing.
That's
He
hysterical.
goes, that's great. I said, bro, I love the Sopranos. I can't. I said, I don't know if everybody gets the jokes, like gets the funny part of the Sopranos. I was like, I'm dying. He goes, honestly, when we're writing, he was dating a girl on a block. That's why he said, I'm waiting for my girlfriend. He said, when we go in the writer's room and we go over all the stuff, we're on the floor dying sometimes with the shit we have to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that one in particular, you got to be on your hat. He cracks the doctor up.
I remember that episode. That's awesome.
It was real. So like that's what I'm saying about being in Manhattan too. Like you never know where you're gonna be and where you're gonna do. That's the beauty of the police department, fire department. Yeah, like you just there's all this stuff that just happens, and you just are places you never thought you'd be. Meeting people, and
just the greatest job in the world, and you know both jobs are really. And working in Manhattan, like you said, is it's a new adventure every day, man.
Yeah, sure. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah,
and oh, I forgot to mention Richie Muldowney as well. So a really sad part of the end of this is when we got back to the academy was Father's Day fire.
Mm.
So we didn't even graduate yet, and we lost 3 brothers, Ford, Fahey, and Downing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we were at 3 funerals. It was like crazy. Like in a week of, when we just got back to the academy. It was like crazy. So you got really indoctrinated quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we get back in the academy, we graduate, and August 28th, Mike Garumba, he was in my academy class. We were only out for a month. He passed away, had a heart attack in 163 engine. Mm-hmm. So like we weren't literally out in the field for a month, and we're all standing on line on Nelson Avenue at the funeral parlor over there, Guyan Avenue, and we're all just looking at each other in Staten Island like, I can't believe we're here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It was like, I can't believe we're here ready for the guy that, and they called us the pork chop platoon. If you missed the run by like 5 seconds, you had to come every day at 5 a.m. and run around for 3 hours. Oh my God, it was the worst. So I was in the pork chop platoon with him, so we became friendly a little bit.
You get on the job and you're on top of the world. You love the job. You know, it's a dangerous job. You lived in a city, being a fireman is dangerous for sure, but you're not, as a young guy, you're like, that ain't going to fucking, excuse my language, that ain't going to happen to me. For me, when, obviously 9/11, I wasn't a fireman yet, but 9/11 was just on another level. But when I got on the job, I was like, I'm going to be surrounded by great guys. It's not going to happen to me. I'm in the engine, whatever, da, 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 da. And then Black Sunday happens. 2 different boroughs, all these.
Yeah.
That made the job real for me. That made the job go. And I was still in Brooklyn. I was about to transfer up to 59 engine. So I can imagine how the Father's Day fire and then Garumba, you going, wow, this is legit. Yeah. This job is not
totally
a joke.
Legit. 100%.
It's a dangerous job, and it can happen to anybody. The best of the best. It can happen.
Yeah, of course.
So it's those jobs. That job probably, Father's Day fire probably for you made it like, wow, this is serious business.
Yeah, that was a bad one. And there was, I don't even know, 12, 14 orphaned kids. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
That was, and I had a young family, so that was like very resonating with me. You know what I mean? It was like, it was real.
Yeah, crazy stuff, man.
Yeah.
Right, so you get assigned to 224. No,
212.
212.
The People's Firehouse. Yeah.
The People's
212.
Firehouse.
The People's Firehouse. Yep.
How was that?
That was a great place. So, I had my sights on other things, and my father had a guy that was going to help me. He was a senior man at 114, but I was like, Dad, I know another guy. He said he'll help me, whatever. So I wound up getting sent there, which is one of the slowest engines in Brooklyn. However, the tradition of the firehouse and the history is quite amazing. And the guys that worked there were old timers that they literally didn't call me Josh. They called me Probie. You know, Bonnie Dignan and Mike Guglielmo. Oh, there's me and Joey, my brother-in-law. Oh, that's a great picture.
Nice.
Yeah, we moved in with each other. 201 moved in with 114, 2009. Eventually, we'll get to that story in a minute.
Yeah.
So, just to backtrack, what was I talking about?
The traditions of 212.
Oh, the People's Firehouse. So in 1976, the city wanted to close the firehouse, and the neighborhood was like, no way. They were all Polish. Adam Vineski, very famous person down there. The people stormed the firehouse when the city came to take the rig out, and they sat on the rig and laid in front of it the whole bit.
Really?
And I think O'Hagan was the commissioner at the time. He used to hang out at my father's bar. Actually, I went to my father's restaurant. It's pretty funny. He came there to see what was going on, and the chief for the police department says to the chief of the fire department, "Chief, you want them out of the firehouse? Because I'll get them out." And Hagan in such a beautiful way, he said, "It's the people's firehouse now. Let them have it. Don't touch anybody. I don't want you doing anything. It's the people's firehouse now. Let them have it." And that became the thing. And it was incredible. And what happened was they closed them. Then the people in the neighborhood, fatal fires were up, you know, all sorts of things. And they had all this documentation. They came with a stack like this of proof about how we need this company here in this neighborhood, which, by the way, they need now more than ever. There's a high rise on every corner now. It was nothing back then. It was all warehouses. So they wind up winning the city. And Bonnie Dignan and Mike Guglielmo, the senior men there, they came back. You know, they left when they closed, and they came back and restarted the company. It's a pretty miraculous story. And the cool thing was, too, part of the training, you know, like just say you did a drill or whatever, and we had the high expansion foam unit, which was another funny thing. On drill, they make you go put it on. And you do. So we had to watch the videotape because it had a documentary about it, like on 60 Minutes or something, about Adam Vineski and the People's Firehouse and how it all happened. And it's pretty cool. I mean, it's New York history, and certainly in that neighborhood, and those proud Polish people that were, you know, really instrumental in keeping the firehouse open. You know what I mean? Like, you got to respect that. I mean, that's incredible. You know, people love their really firemen, man. People love the neighborhood. Hell yeah.
In any neighborhood, man, any neighborhood in the city of New York, the people love the firemen.
So I learned a couple of really good things in 212. One, don't listen to the senior guys when they tell you to do something at drill that doesn't seem exactly right. We took the high expansion foam apparatus to the water, to the river, and they backed it in. And they were like, "All right, we're going to let you do this by yourself. Dude, you got to pull the levers. You look like the Wizard of Oz. I'm pulling all these levers, introducing the foam in the water. There's fucking, like, I don't know, 3,000 gallons of foam in there, dude. And it's high expansion, which means it goes whoosh. Dude, I pull the lever, and they don't put the chute on. There's a plastic chute that brings it to the location when you're going to abandon a building and just foam it to death. Dude, there's no chute, and the wind is blowing off the river, of course. Dude, I don't know how to shut the thing off. Dude, I'm a snowman. I'm gone. I disappear in literally, 100 feet by 100 feet bubble of high expansion foam. But I could see in it. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, what the fuck is going on? How do I shut this thing off?
God, dude.
How do I shut this thing off? So finally Googie comes and, pishes the thing. And oh my God, it was so funny. But I'll tell you a great story about Mike Guglielmo. He was a tremendous guy. Those guys, Bonnie Dignan and Mike, they did straight tours. And they hung over and they waited relief, you know what I mean? And if they were in between day tours, stayed at the firehouse, like that old school way,
Yeah, old school way. Those guys didn't do 24s, man.
They didn't do 24s, yep. So this covering guy, Billy Solon from Ladder 103, is working with us, right? Now, he's from the busiest shop in Brooklyn. We're from the slowest, you know what I mean? It was just a little bit of a, difference of, the way we do things. Yeah. But he was so proud to be there and so happy to be there. And we had a lot of young guys, you know what I mean? We had some old time chauffeurs, but there were some young guys too. Yeah. So anyway, there's a job that comes in, not even our third area. It's pretty far away. Yeah. So it's getting better. It seems like it's getting better. And the guy, Billy Solon, goes, "I think we're going to take a ride and buff this thing. We're going to buff the job."
We're going to buff the job. It more like we're going to poach it.
Totally. So Googie goes, "Sounds like a good idea, boss. Take the boys out." So we do. We go down there. Now, Chief Jackson, he had the car back then, the deputy chief from the 11th Division. He had a car, not a truck. Yeah. He came earlier in the tour to talk about possibly closing the company because it started to percolate that information, like it was out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, they might do it again. So he was just with us literally 3 hours ago in the firehouse for an hour talking to us. So anyway, we pull up. Here's Chief Jackson on the corner outside of his car, and he looks at us. We're 212. We're not on the ticket. It's not a second alarm. You know what I mean? It's on all hands. Nowhere near it, you know? So someone just waves them. The 216 puts it under control, right? And then all of a sudden, someone goes, this Irish kid, he went to Squad 41. He was a 146 truck. He goes, fire in the cockloft. Fire in the cockloft. He was up on the top floor. He puts his whole fucking thing. It was balloon framing. Dude, it was raw. Those jobs down there were amazing because they're all wood frame. I mean, I had the best fires down there. Diamond Street, legendary stuff. I probably told you about it. The Cobra. I started that technique. So, dude, we literally, he says, I will leave. We go around the corner. We get a half a block. Fire in the cockloft. Bang out the second alarm. And I'll never forget this. We pull up, he gets off the rig, and he points to Gene Smokey, his father owned the Leaf Erickson bar. He goes, grab a line and meet me in the front of the building. Just like that. Okay. Like no one's ever said that before. You know what I mean? Like there was not, he was like, get a line, meet me in the front of the building. He goes over to the chief. It wasn't far. And he goes, Chief, Billy Solon, engine 212. I got a line on the way. Where do you need it? Dude, the best move ever. I love this guy. I wish I could talk to him now. Ever. Greatest move ever. Dude, all of a sudden, bro, we had fire on the third floor. I was control, so I was just kind of like in the hallway, humping hose, whatever. Got to cover your position. Joe Higgins, you're a position firefighter. Whatever that position is, you better do it to the letter. That's your coverage area. You know what I mean?
Everybody's expecting you to do your position.
100%. So they go in.
Yeah.
They go in, fucking knock it down. We got fire on the floor above us. We go to the above. A chauffeur outside says, hey, 212, I see you're operating on the top floor. The windows just blew out and lit up behind you, underneath you. Dude, and Gene is a beast. You know, he's a boxer, tough kid from Brooklyn. He's fucking boom, 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 boom. Comes down, knocks that down. We knocked down 2 floors of fire. It was amazing.
Wow.
But the other funny thing about it, one of the guys liked to gamble a lot. And it was the Sunday night game. It was a Sunday night. So, like, you know, he lost on the 1 o'clock game, lost on the 4 o'clock game. I think he had his mortgage on the game. You know what I mean, dude? So he wrote down, and he had the over. So he wrote down on the chalkboard all the scores. And at the end, he wrote, when it comes to 0, because he wins, he wrote Yahtzee. So, dude, we almost finished the fire. He goes, take them out. I'll go right back. Dude, he runs down the street. He runs down the street to a bar, just not to drink, but just to see what the score was of the game. Yeah. He wins. Dude, I'm on the top of the hose bed, packing the hose, and he comes around the corner, sweating all down. He's like, Yahtzee! We're all going, yeah. It was amazing. So he hits the bet. Great. Then we get home. Mike Guglielmo, senior man, 38 years on the job. He cooked the entire meal for us, and he heard us coming back, and he had the whole meal on the table, hot, waiting for us. He cooked the whole meal by himself. Isn't that
that's great, man. Brothers do that. You know,
it was incredible, man. Yeah,
awesome.
It was really cool. Yeah.
So it must have been tough to transfer over to 114 truck.
It was hard. It was hard because I really did love them, and they really did take good care of us. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I really owe them, you know, number one, a debt of gratitude that I can never repay. But there was a lot of love there. You know, it was and the battalion, the whole battalion, 3-5 battalion. When you were a probie in one of those companies, you were everybody's probie. And I was out the door a lot because we needed a second chauffeur to drive the high expansion foam rig. Right. And we weren't chauffeurs. We had fucking a year on a job.
Right.
You
so
know,
they'll bounce to
the three of us. Always. And I always worked in, you know, 216, 229, 108, and 146. I always worked there. And this outside, 221 and 104. Great guys. Every one of them. Awesome. But they treated us like if we were their probies. You know what I'm saying? And there was something to that, which reminded me when I got to the 16th Battalion, how you guys operated like that. You know what I mean? Like taking care of each other.
The whole phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. It's like it takes a battalion to watch out for
make a good probie.
To make a good probie. Like we were always watching out for the probies. Yeah. And
then you feel it. Like you feel every time you work in those companies, you're like, I better do a damn good job. These guys have been taking their time to really take care of me, show me. You know what I mean? It was really cool. I'll give you one 216 story real quick. I never had a control job, you know, in the projects. And I had Billy Whalen over there, famous chauffeur, tons of time on the job. But, dude, they turned out, bro. If you didn't have your bunker pants on, they were leaving you. Like, no joke. So of course I have bunker pants on, and there's something to be said for that too, man. I don't mind that at all, man. I can get down with the Brooklyn shit too,
Listen, when
I
in
love
Rome,
Harlem, but totally. So I'm there.
When in Rome, you got to do as the Romans, right?
We get a run. Billy Whalen is already, he's already opening the door to get into the driver's seat. And he just turns around just from the box number and he goes, "Standpipe, lads, standpipes." Dude. Mm-hmm. And I had control. And I was like, okay. I asked the guy, what do I do? You know what I mean? What should I do first? You know what I mean? He gave me the whole lowdown. I think the boss carried the bag there or something. I forget what it was. It was something different. You know what I mean? And he gave me the whole thing. But just by that chauffeur with that, standpipe, lads, standpipes, it was like, these guys are squared away. It was really like an awesome thing, So, but then I wanted to go to Tally Ho forever. And I just didn't, get there. No big deal. So I transfer in March 15th, 2003. Mm-hmm. And 1 hour, 1 minute in the company Saturday. I never forget it. Phones go off. Tally Ho, first due, 1075 the box.
Woo!
Yeah, it was nice.
The black
it was
cloud
nice.
has arrived.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was 10:01 hours on the ticket.
Really?
Because they took my ticket and they put it on Jimmy Dunn's locker. It was like a young guy like me, but a buff. They were like, "Oh, we got a new hot guy. Got a new black cloud." So it was great. It was great. Joe Harris was the boss. Billy Roll had the irons. I had the can. But I learned a lot at that job right away because, number one, it was my first run in the truck, being assigned. And we had a fire, and then we do searching and, pull the ceilings and everything. And then I'm standing on something, but my footing's not right. And the boss goes, I'm like, what? He goes, "You're standing on the dog." And I was like, oh God. Thank God it wasn't a baby or something. I missed it.
Right.
And, it's soft and furry. It's an animal. I should have definitely fucking known that. You know what I mean? So I kind of got like that, you got here, you caught a job, but you also kind of fucked up a little bit too,
Should have seen that one, kid,
that type of thing. But it's okay, dude. You got to do this shit in this business, man. You know what I mean? You got to wake up quick, bro. Just like the PD.
It ain't the first time. It ain't going to be the last. That shit happens, but yeah, that's, you like
so
that.
and then I got to take the sad part was I got to take the dog out to the owner, it was, but then you see like the awesomeness of the job and how fun it is. And then you see the sad part when you come out and people are brokenhearted and shit's fucked up. And that's the hardest part.
You got to switch very quickly. It switches very quickly. You could be in a job overhauling and having some fun, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit. And now you have to switch modes and bring, that's tough, man. That's not easy to do. That's hard on the brain and the heart for that matter. But crazy. I got a question for you. I got a question.
God, yeah.
How did Tally Ho get their name? Tally Ho.
Yeah, I do actually. So the story is that there was a good Jack Carroll and a bad Jack Carroll. There were two Jack Carrolls in Tally Ho, and one came back from World War II, and I think he was a paratrooper, and they used to yell Tally Ho when they jumped out of the plane. I mean, how psychotic are these maniacs back then, right? You talk about men. Jump out of this old Ricky shitty fucking plane with this fucking parachute. With the gun, and the Germans are shooting at you. Tally Ho. So they say Tally Ho. So then when he became an officer there, he wanted the guys to get on the rig, you know what I mean? And the last guy on would yell Tally Ho, and they would take off, and then it just stuck. So for quite a while, the last guy on the rig, because when we were on Fifth Avenue, we were by ourselves. And, you had to close the door and you had to get rolling because tower ladders are very heavy and slow. And my whole area was hilly. So if you were going up the hill to 148's area, you got to get moving. You know what I mean? You don't want to have any shot of getting in there. Yeah. So they would start rolling down the block and you were like rerun. Remember rerun? What's happening? Yeah. You would have to. Yeah. I never forget. Remember I told you I worked for Dirty Plumbing? Yeah. I saw the Dirty Plumbing van was behind the rig. I didn't know it. They were following the rig down 50 area. I was running and I jumped. But dude, I was holding on and my legs fell out. I was getting dragged down the street trying to pull myself. I'm not even kidding. We were going slow. You know what I mean? And I was able to pull myself up, but it was hysterical. So of course I get the phone call later. What the fuck happened? It was so funny. But that was the way it was. And the last guy on would go Tally Ho, so the chauffeur would know, hit it. Like, let's get moving, We got to go to work.
That's great.
It was a really awesome place to work. Cool. Yeah.
The last guy gets on Tally Ho, so you don't even have to know. You know that you hear that, you're going. Boom, you're gone.
Totally.
That's
and then when I became a chauffeur, the Tally Ho is like our 10-4. You know what I mean? But I always said, only use that for 1075 for better. You know what I mean? Like if a box is coming in,
Wait, so
take it in 114 Tally Ho.
So when 114 and 201 combined, 201 and 114 combined, right?
This is the story.
Yeah.
You want to hear the story? Danny Mac said it best. He told 201 we moved in together. He said, if you guys did one fucking day of committee work a month, they wouldn't have had to knock your fucking building down and move us in with you with the fucking chief. One day a month is all it took. He couldn't even do that.
Just to keep it clean. Come on, man.
To keep it clean, yeah. He goes, but now you got some credibility parked next to us in the firehouse, you know, because we had a thing with 201, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. But I mean,
not really our generation, but the previous generations, you know?
Right, right.
Because
so, when
201 and 1...
When you guys combined, was there an issue with the tally ho, like 114?
100%, dude. Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You cannot take two prideful companies. And dude, 201 is a knockdown, awesome engine company, bro. You know, like they're the real deal. And in the late 70s, early 80s, when they were the rock and shop, those guys were legendary, you know. But what happened was in the old days, they had a short bed Mac that had a cross lay bed, you know, and they would just pull up in front of the brownstone and the 500 gallons. Well, if it wasn't enough, somebody else would come and pump into them. You know what I mean? With relay. They would just use the word. Yeah, and they would always block out 114. So that was where, you know, it became a little bit of a thing, like, you know what I mean? And it was way before my time. I wasn't around for that. But, you know, there was still sort of that thing, you know what I mean? And it was fun. It was a funny ball breaking type of stuff. And then we moved in together, and, you know, we always said we were the white linen Irish and they were the Irish trash. You know what I mean? Like, you know, with the shitty firehouse, with the rat hanging down with the cigarette in its mouth from the pull chain of the light, you know, the sinks were hanging off the wall. But, you know, that's what they did. That was their thing. But they were great firemen. They are great firemen. You know, awesome. Yeah. So we had a lot of fun with that. But we had to adjust. You know, they had to come a little bit our way with the little more Buffy stuff and how we take care of things. And we had to, you know, go a little their way. Like, not take ourselves too seriously. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, we can still break balls and you don't have to get offended because, you know, we're calling you tally slow or they call you the $1 million shopping cart. You know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
were they saying tally ho? What were they saying, like, to break your balls if they were answering a box? Were they just saying 10-4 or were they saying something different?
No, they would just do that 10-4 stuff. But but a covering boss told me a story once. He wound up being an officer in 201. He said, I'm in 201 and we were separated at the time. And Big Bill Dunn, who's a legend, he did 19 years in 114 as a lieutenant. Legend. And then his son, Mike, was my captain, who I owe a tremendous, my best captain, and really, you know, I mean, you can't really rank it because they're all different, but they were all great. And he just really did me right in my career and made me the officer I was, the firefighter I was, the man I was. Like, he's that kind of person. I love him to death. It was his dad. And the engine guy goes, yeah, I'm covering in 201. And all I keep saying on the radio is tally ho every time I have a run. He goes, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm asleep in the office, which is in the front. 114 sneakily pulls up, puts the bucket up to the window with Big Bill Dunn, who's a gigantic, massive human being. Bill Dunn comes in through the window and grabs the guy by the throat. And he says, I don't think you want to say tally ho on the radio anymore. It's probably not a good idea. The guy was like, okay. He was like Eddie Murphy. It was the Dukes. He was like, okay, no problem. You imagine? Dude, he blocked out the moon from the window. You know what I mean? No problem. Sorry.
I'm going to sneak in that guy's window right now. I could. Oh, man.
Saddle up, boys.
Thing to do. Such a fun
amazing
thing to do, bro.
So when I got there was a lot of really great senior leadership and senior men. And Tally Ho did things a certain way. And like, we weren't, like, when I got there, I was a transfer, not a blue blood, but that's cool. There was no bucketing. There was no bullshit. It was like you were expected to operate like a professional firefighter. You know what I mean? And be a gentleman. Like you were expected to operate on a very high level, you know, capable level, you know, in that company. And you didn't get treated like an asshole. You didn't get treated like shit. You were probie, you had to do probie things, of course. You know what I mean? Like you had to do everything junior men have to do to the letter, and tools clean and everything squared away properly. But you were never treated like anything other than another good fireman. You know what I mean? It was like a very cool way to break into a company. Really, but you felt like you had to perform. You know, you know what I'm saying? You really
pressure's on, man. You gotta prove yourself to these men. I gotta fill these big ass shoes. Were you 114 in this picture?
Oh yeah, Salty Face. That's a famous picture. It's called Salty Face. That's from the Daily News.
That was the Daily News?
Yeah, it's from the Daily News. It didn't make it to the front page, although I tell people it did. So the funny thing is about that picture It really wasn't much. It looks great. It looks, and they call it salt.
Dirty.
Yeah, breathing out. It was February. It was cold.
Yeah, man.
Well, they call it salty face. That's my salty face. And then they said when I used to come out of fires, I'd have the helmet crooked and the halligan hanging down,
Like, wow.
And then your salty face.
Come out. Wow, that guy got his ass kicked in there.
So that was a nothing job. It was like a little job in a jewelry store. You know what I mean? And we had to take down the air conditioning unit because it was behind the air conditioning unit, even though it was February, and pull the ceilings of an old shitty tin ceiling in an old building. And we just got destroyed, not because of the heat and the smoke, but just because it was an old building with, tin ceilings and a fucking plaster and lath above that. We got destroyed. But it's a cool picture.
Yeah. What about this one? Let me see.
Ooh. Oh, that's Ray Pollard up there in the bucket. So this is like sad but funny. This was a 10th alarm right behind the hospital, Downstate Medical Center, and they have a complex there with Kings County Hospital. So it was on Lenox on the other side of it. So I knew the area because I was a cop there. So I was driving. I'm the chauffeur that day. Yeah. And we get sent to this 10th alarm. It was a lightning strike on that building. It was an enormous building, enormous. There was a lightning strike. Yeah. The roof went on fire. And it melted and collapsed into the top floor.
Really?
It was insane. Totally. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
So they pull everybody out. Dude, I pull up and I'm like, boss, and it was, I forget his, I know, I got his face in my head. And I'm like, yo, bro, I'm like, I know exactly where I'm going and I know exactly how to get there. He's like, do it, take me there. So I wind up going, not on, Nostrand Ave, not Nostrand. It was New York Avenue, maybe. I went to this New York Bats, New York, Brooklyn, Albany, Troy, Schenectady. That's how I remember the avenue. It's like when you're a cop in case something happens.
Yeah.
So I went down to like Albany and came in from the back way, and I backed in like 3 blocks because I was like, this is going bad, and they're pulling people out already. We got to get this tower out ready to go. So I backed into the block, got an engine. We were ready to go. It was beautiful. So Ray Pollard's up there, and you have fun at the job. So I'm screaming up to him. I'm like, Rainbow, whip it around, baby. Like a cowboy. He's got the fucking Stang going. Boom, boom, boom. And dude, I don't know if you ever operated a Stang before. You have the power, I wouldn't say of God, but you have mighty power at your fingertips when you operate a tower ladder, bro. For real. Yeah. And it is the most fun thing.
I've pumped, I've supplied.
I've taken like 3 buildings down. Yeah. I've taken like 3 buildings down with it in 114's area over the years. And Ray took this roof down. Dude, it's so mighty. And you just ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. And you really got to get into it, because you got to get a rhythm to it. Just like a line, you got to get a rhythm to it. And, and I was screaming to Ray, Rainbow! And he's going crazy, and he does the job. We bed the thing down. Now, it was a hot day, so everybody's kind of shot. But I actually go over because now we got to cover him boss, and he's only brand new. And I was the chauffeur and the senior guy on the back step, on the rig that day. So I go over to the chief. I was like, yo, chief, we got a fresh truck, bro. Tally ho. We towel out of this shit, but we're ready to rock. If you're sending guys back in there, we want to get a taste of this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Send us back in. And he's like, no problem. Definitely. So we went into the wing that they think they evacuated one wing, but not the other. So we got up there, and I'll never forget it, dude. We got a guy from Ladder 105, and they're a proud company, great firefighters. And the guy is, we were leaving 105. He's standing there, he's like, fucking, drenched. It's 100 degrees. There's no roof, dude. I was like, hey, 105, Tally Ho's here. We're relieved. He goes, I thought you'd never come.
Bro, we've all been there, man.
I thought you'd never get here. Dude, it was hilarious. So I get up there. Listen to this real quick. Sorry. We get up there, and now I'm all full of piss and vinegar. The guys hate me because they wanted to go home and have lunch. You know what I mean? But I'm like, I'm Buffy. I like this shit. So anyway, I see this guy, Valsamitis. I went to school with his brother, this Greek kid, in PS 127. So I'm like, hey, Valsamitis, I know your brother. I said, what do you need up here? He goes, take down this wall. Now, there's no roof, and it's all sunny and 100 degrees out. Bro, I go, fuck, yeah, no problem. Boom, 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 boom. The whole thing's down in 2 seconds. Bro, I killed it. All of a sudden, I'm like, dude, the heat gets dude, like this. On the bed. There was a bed full of tar, for the tar from the roof. Yeah. Dude, it was hilarious. He goes, you're going to be all right? I just sprayed some water on my face. Dude, I'm getting hosed. It was hysterical. We got our asses kicked on that one, but it was a great.
That's the thing
fire.
about firemen.
It was a great fire.
They're not going to leave until firemen. We're our own worst enemy because we will work till we fucking drop. Nobody wants to be the guy that goes,
literally,
hey,
literally.
Like you got to have smart guys, smart chiefs, or somebody to be like, you guys are out.
You got to come out.
You have to come out. That's it. I'm giving you an order. Yeah. You know, so I could see that. Like the guy coming up and he's still going to keep going until he gets somebody's like, you're out of here, bro.
Dude,
you know?
I just did did Mikey Davidson's fire today at Flips.
Yep.
And Chief Brosey drove me back to pick up my car. And I talk about that, you know, like when is you're okay, not okay. And I got carried away in there. I was out of air. You know, I was on Barb Alert for 5 minutes. I had one breath left in my tank. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because Brosey's like, that thing is what fucking makes us great. And we could never lose. That's why we're the greatest fire department in the world. Tragedy aside, it's awful. No one wants to die. But you have to have that inert capability, energy, gusto, zeal, whatever you want to call it, to get the fucking job done and never stop until it's actually done. That's what makes you a New York City firefighter, bro. You know what I mean? And like, you can't lose that, you know, and sometimes it's to our detriment, but it's, you know what I'm saying?
You know, so
I don't know.
You bring up Mikey D, you get promoted in 2014 and you get up to the 6th division and you start, you know, you work in the 16th. I drove you a little bit, you know, and then
so much fun.
Wasn't that
my
great?
Second tour? My second tour. I got to tell the story. Can I tell it?
Go ahead.
All right. So, all right. I got one story, and then how I got to the 6th is even a better story. But so my first tour was 68 engine. My first run was Yankee Stadium. I was like, I love this shit already. I love it. Yeah, this is for me. Definitely for me. Totally. So the second tour was with you when you were working. My second tour was lieutenant. Kenny D welcomed me in with open arms. I was so happy, man. I was like, really, thank you for that. You know, and you got a tough kitchen over there. You know what I mean? So at least you said, this is my guy. He's cool. You know what I mean? Like, cause you never know. So I go there. We have a great night. We're hanging out. We get a few runs. We're doing our thing. And then next thing I know, I'm sitting around a campfire under a mesh fucking camouflage tent. And I'm like, where am I? Like, I kind of forgot where I was. And then, you know, we're just bullshitting, telling stories, talking about the job and, you know, different things and how you guys do things. Next thing I know, I hear a window fucking slide up, like from right over my shoulder where the tent is, you know, this is the back of the tent. I was like, I hear, would you firemen shut the fuck up and go to bed? I'm trying to get some sleep. I had no idea. Dude, I fell on the floor. I had no idea the lady was right behind me. 10 feet. She was right there, laughing.
Because we're out there laughing, having a good time.
Of course, we're having a great time. Yeah. Oh, it was so funny. Man. So the other funny story I got is when Nick drove me the first time I worked in a truck over there, which was only like a week later. Yeah.
So Keith Nicoliello, the famous
Nick goes, yeah, Nick Nicoliello, Nick the Dick. He said, boss, I hope you don't mind, but I made you a front piece. Bro. I was like, no problem. Dude, I put my helmet on. It's like this. It's a dirty truck. It looked like a ketchup bottle. You know what I mean? Like a giant Heinz ketchup. It was gigantic.
Yeah.
I said, lucky I'm sure because I won't hit the sill of the door when I walk through to get into the fire. Bro, it was hysterical. But I was honored that he did that. You know what I mean? Like, that guy had a lot of pride in his company. I love senior men that have pride in their company. You know what I mean? Yeah. To me, that is the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And I had it in 212. I had it in 114 in spades. I had it, you know, being in your shop in the zoo. I had it all over the South Bronx and Harlem. But
and then the Hilton, man.
We might have to do a part 2 here in the Hilton.
Oh, we're definitely going to have to. We got some time, though. You know.
Yeah. Another funny story. And you'll appreciate this being from Warwick. I'm trying to figure out, I'm in Flips. I'm trying to figure out where should I go, 7th or 6th. You know, I knew I wanted to come up that way, you know. And I go out and have a beer at Halligan's. Dennis McLaughlin was in my academy class, very dear friend of mine and a beautiful guy. And John Vanderstar, legendary guy, 44 truck, awesome fire officer, fireman. And we have a beer, we're bullshitting. And I'm like, what do you think, 6th or 7th? They're both 6th division guys. They were like, you are not 7th division material. You need to be in the 6th. That's all they said. You need to be in the 6th. They left it at that. Fast forward, the next week is Memorial Day. So we're in Flips during Memorial Day. And Chief Brosey is a really good person that loves the job and knows the tradition of the job that's so important. So we get there in the morning, we muster up, and he says, guys, go ahead, go to Memorial Day. You have to be there. Don't get in any trouble. You know, just go to the event and I'll see you tomorrow. You know what I mean? It was a nice thing. And of course, we're all carpooling. So we're carpooling and they say, I carpool with Kevin Moran from 34 truck and Patty Matarazzo from 56 truck. Two great guys, great firemen. So we were carpooling together coming from up here. And they were like, listen, don't even go south of the Memorial and talk to your asshole buddies from Brooklyn. You got to stay north of the Memorial because you're going to go to the 6th Division. You know what I mean? I said, meet our guys, guys we know. I thought, all right, no problem. So it was a beautiful, as it always is, Memorial Day was really nice and respectful and honorable, and a great turnout. That's our job, just a great turnout. Such a special thing to be a part of this, really. I look back now with fondness, it was, it was really a beautiful ceremony.
You almost take it for granted while you're there.
You have to pause and say that, you have to take that in, that's the reason we're there, all the other stuff will happen. Yeah, totally, man. And it was a really beautiful ceremony. I just remember I was, and now you're an officer. So you kind of, like I told the guys in flips, like you think being a fireman's great, being an officer is the best job that anybody could ever have. You're in charge of the most incredible people on the planet. You know what I mean? The most capable, full of heart, will do anything for you. And even for other people they don't even know, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're the officer of that. And I was told to me by Billy Gallagher, who I had in flips, and he covered in Tally Ho. He told me that when I was in flips, and he was right about being an officer. It was cool. So anyway, we get in the car, and now I'm like, where do we go now? They're like, Gaelic Park. I'm like, so we'll go to Gaelic Park. And Jabbo, Jabbo, your boy Jabbo with the mustache. So you're going to love this. So we go to Gaelic Park. I don't know a soul. I walk in, Brosy walks in, and he's like, oh, Josh, come over here. Introduced me to a couple of guys, famous, South Bronx guys. I said, how you doing? Nice to meet you. He goes, they're raising money for something over here. The Burn Center, buy a cigar. I buy a cigar. Okay. I don't know one. I'm not even kidding. Other than the two people in Brosy that I came with, I don't know nobody. Winds up my boy, Paulie Denver. He lives over here. He was in 59 truck.
I met Paulie with you one night. I think.
The best. Yeah. So he's there pulling the beers because they're running the collation,
Yeah.
So I'm like, so now I got a friend, and dude, good for me. I got a friend with beer. You know what I mean? So me and Paulie talking about the old days, high school. We hung out a little bit here and there. We have mutual friends. He's the best. So he's pulling me beers. I'm drinking. We're having a good time. Staying loose and everything. But it was a hot day. So now the jacket comes off, the tie's gone, the hat's gone. My white shirt is unbuttoned down to here. It was before I shaved my chest. Now that I'm in such good shape, I got this going on. And then Jabbo comes over to me, and I got the shirt down to here, and he goes, "What is this?" He's like, "We don't do this in the 6th Division. We're gentlemen. We act like gentlemen, we operate like gentlemen, and we dress like gentlemen." That's what he tells me.
He said that.
Yes. And I said, "Dude, it's hot and it's too late now." That's what I told him.
Did you know him before that?
Yeah, we were flips together.
Oh, you were in flips.
Yeah, we were flips.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, I got
I forgot to say that. We were flips together.
Yeah.
So then now I'm feeling good. You know what I mean? I feel nice. I got a cigar going, 2 beer buzz. That's the best spot to be in. And all of a sudden I see a guy with a 6 and an eagle on his collar brace. I'm like, dude, this is my move right here. I'm going to sell myself. This is the chief in the 6th Division. Dude, I take 2 puffs of the cigar, a half a swig of the beer. I put the beer in this hand. I salute him. I said, "Sir, Lieutenant Josh Calacanis, formerly of L-114 TALLY HO, best truck in Brooklyn. I'm in flips now currently. We get out soon, and I would love nothing more than be a lieutenant under your command. I heard you run the best division in the city of New York. It would be an honor." He looks at me and goes, "What's your name?" Because "What's your name, son?" He goes, "What's your name, son?" I said, "Lieutenant Josh Calacanis." He goes, "You're just the kind of guy I'm looking for. Chief James Donlevy."
Wow.
He goes, "Do you have any?" Yeah. And I think, like, really? Then I got up there, really,
Like, yeah. Now you're nervous.
Dude, it was amazing. He was such a great guy. So anyway, he goes, "Do you have an email?" I said, "Yeah, I just got it yesterday, actually, on the computer. When you become a boss, they give you an email." He goes, "Email me tomorrow. Remind me of the story that we met today. And I get 2 picks out of every litter, from the flips class." He goes, someone came to me already, and I think it was Frankie Morrissey from 35.
Yeah.
So he was already booked, taking his brother's spot over there.
Dude, man.
The best.
Yeah.
Break my balls every day in flips. I love him with his fucking Tarzan hair. He goes, "You just balled your ball prickers." Whatever.
I haven't seen him in a while, man. He was always
the best.
Good dude,
he's the best. The best.
Yeah.
So he got picked already. I think it was him. And then he's like, I'll choose you for my number 2. And I was like, "Thank you so much." And that's what happened. I emailed him, and he said, "You're in. I'll see you on Friday."
Yeah.
It was like Halloween, I think. Then when we got out, and we went there with the cigars and the cakes and everything.
Nice.
And it was really like you're just the kind of guy I'm looking for,
bro. But that,
I think back now, it's so funny.
That is so traditional FDNY and stories that are passed down and movie shit like that. Like you see guys, we're at a big coalition and we're hanging out, we're having a good time, and I'm gonna go, hey, I'm gonna walk up to this guy and introduce myself, and like, but that's stuff that's so great about this job, man. And,
that is. I did it with Captain Luisi too, to get a tryout in 44 truck. I was
Steve Luisi.
Yeah, dude, it was hysterical.
Another great dude.
It was very funny. So let me back up a little bit. So when I did my second tour in 59 engine, right? That was my second tour. That night I got a phone call that I'm going to start a 2-month detail in 28 truck. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. So I go to 28 truck in the morning, and I just want to meet anybody who's going to talk to me and tell them I'm going to start here at some point. And if whoever's going to be my mutual partner, do you need me to step up and work? Does anybody have to be off for the weekend? Friday morning. I'm like, I'll do anything. I'm coming here. I can't wait. I was so excited. And Eddie Long was a friend of mine, so he kind of, and then he paved the way a little bit like you did for me in your house. And then Jimmy Nichols was the chief in the 6th Division. He's a Tally Ho alumni. So there was a little bit of that going on, so it was very beautiful, and really amazing to be able to have that experience. So I go right to 28 truck. It was just, I can't even tell you the fun I had there. It was amazing.
Tell me the differences. Go ahead. Tell you.
No, you go.
I was gonna say, tell me the differences in the way 114 operated in Brooklyn and the way 28 truck operated in Harlem.
This is why I loved having the experience of 114, taking that with me on the road to the 6th Division. I felt very comfortable in every firehouse I walked in, because whether it's Harlem or the South Bronx, all of those companies did the work. There's pictures of fires, there's medal winners, there's unit citations, there's just history beyond history in every company you work in. And in 114, you go there, dude, old timers helmets are still hanging on the wall. There's a wall of helmets. Like when you retired from there, you left your helmet, there was a plaque, you know what I mean? Like medal winners up the ass, a couple of Gordon Bennett winners, really, like legit. And so I felt, and it was an old firehouse. It was the smallest firehouse in the city of New York. And we had a tower ladder in there, one spiral staircase. I don't know if you ever worked in the old firehouse. It was amazing.
I never worked in 114. I worked in 201, single engine, but I never worked in 114 truck. No.
It was really a special place, really. So I had all of that, you know what I mean? With that history and the fires and, operating in that way. I took that with me, and everywhere I went up there, it was very similar. Like we weren't a Brooklyn truck like some others where they're super aggressive, japping people out, all that kind of stuff. We weren't down with that because we're in a tower ladder, bro, and we're going up a hill. And if you want to play that game, you're going to lose a lot. You know what I mean? So, we kind of played nice in the sandbox with our companies, and we had a tremendous amount of pride, of course, and our capabilities. You know what I mean? Like, so we operated like that. And when I got up there, I found the same exact type of firefighters and officers and companies. And I really felt so happy. So the similarities to me were much greater than the differences. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then the turnout stuff was definitely getting used to. I wasn't used to the turnout stuff. You know what I mean? I really wasn't. I remember Joe Kober was driving me in 69 engine one day. Yeah. And we're second due to you guys. Yeah. On like Fifth Avenue over there, that those last buildings over there before you get on the bridge. And dude, there's nobody there. And I'm like, and he makes the right turn, and the building's on the right on my side. But there's a hydrant right in front. I'm like, fucking bingo, bro. All of a sudden he goes, whoop. He goes across the street and he noses into this hydrant. I go, oh, bro, what the fuck are you doing? There's a hydrant over there. He goes, right. That's 59's engine. That's 59's hydrant. I go, well, they're not here yet. And I go to get out. And he goes, whoa, where are you going? Yeah, he goes, where are you going? I was like, I'm getting out of the fucking rig. I don't see any rigs. I'm going to figure out what the fuck is going on. They're not here. He goes, they will be. We don't do that here. He goes, come back in the rig. But he said it nice. Joe.
Yeah, I know Joe.
He said it nice. Dude, I get back in the rig. I sit down and shut the fuck up, and take his lead, and I'm like, all right. And all of a sudden, dude, not even 10 seconds went by. 59, boop, right in. 30 truck, boop, right in. 28 right there. Everybody set up nice. 2 engines on hydrants if shit goes bad. You know what I mean? Everything in order. And I was like, I immediately picked up on that. Like, okay, if you operate like this, hopefully, things will be orderly. You know what I'm saying?
Everything's orderly. Everybody knows.
Yeah. And there's a respect among the companies that I really, really enjoyed. You know what I mean? Like the camaraderie among the companies in the 6th Division were tremendous. So that was a little bit getting used to.
That was some of the funnest stuff after a fire. Just hanging out with the other companies,
hanging out, yeah,
and talking after the job. Hey, that was, I loved that because you don't always, you detail to the other companies, they detail to you. You go there for certain things or whatever. But like after a job, when everybody's just like, talking to those guys was just some of the funnest stuff.
Yeah, even in 28, like at the end of the tour, at the end of the day tour, Dirty Truck would stop by and hang out, or Rescue 3 would come over and hang out, or we would go to 80 and 23 up the hill. We would go over there and hang out and just bullshit. It was just like, it was really, for lack of a better term,
battalion, man.
It was groovy. It was like, it was easy to, everybody, it was awesome. And dude, and you couldn't have 3 more different houses, right? The zoo is fucking nuts and hilarious. Me, I'm a little buffy, so I fit right in with 28. They're training, they're buffy, they're doing their thing. Everything's, and then 80 and 23 to me is like a little South Bronx style. You know what I mean? They're tremendous firefighters. I mean, awesome. And dude, the best jobs I ever had in my career, we were second due to them. Those big H types up there, I had a couple of those, dude. I can't even tell you how awesome those fires were. Amazing fire for everybody.
Oh man, the buildings,
my best fires.
The fires that they had to fight. Got my ass kicked at those buildings up there, man.
Yeah, insane.
Third due, like
H types, huge.
Huge
the pre-war buildings with the 40. It takes a whole length to get to the end of the apartment. Like amazing.
What was great? It was one of the great things about them. They ran less than us, but their fire duty was more than
high.
Higher with their running. So it was like it was great dudes. That whole battalion, man. I just so great. I'm so honored and privileged to have worked there, man.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, it really.
So
was.
you fit in. You fit in. How long did you feel like you took you to fit into 28 truck?
A day. It's like in 28.
Yeah,
a day. And I don't mean a day meaning I felt comfortable enough to think my shit didn't stink and I'm a good officer and I know everything. No, I mean to feel so comfortable that the guys are amazing. I don't have to really do much as an officer. We always felt that way in 114. If the boss is with us or he's not. And if he ain't, that's cool too. We're going to do our own thing. And I'll get on the radio. Senior guy will take charge of the inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the chauffeur was always the boss of the outside team. That's the way we were operating, and similar in 28. So I felt immediately like this is the place I belong. Immediately.
That's what I was going to say. When did you feel
100%. The first day. The first day. Because I was in chauffeur school with Tommy Newbert. Right. Yeah. And then Eddie Long, I know very well too.
Yeah.
So one of them, maybe it was Eddie. Somebody said, as soon as you walk in the door, tell somebody an old lady joke. Just say an old lady joke. You know what I mean? You know how they always say that? Oh, ask your old lady. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, dude, nobody knows me. I walk in the door. Paulie Newman always tells the story. He's sitting in the back in Pickle Park. Everybody's hanging out, smoking cigarettes, whatever, drinking coffee.
Pickle Park, man.
Hey, yeah. And then someone pins me out like, oh, who are you? You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, why don't you go ask your old lady? Bro, the whole place goes, oh! I just walked in the door. But it was a setup. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Bro, everybody goes crazy. You know what I mean? It was so funny. Everybody's dying laughing. So, I just felt like that was the right place for me to be. You know what I mean? And, on every level. Yeah. I really, I can't even tell you how much I love that place.
So
really.
You get to know all the guys. You're there a little while, you get to know Mikey D, and everything like that. I don't know if you want to get into that job. I mean, you talk about it with flips and stuff, but that was hard for obviously his family, for us in the battalion, for the job. Like that was tough, man. Mikey was such a great dude, great fireman, the whole just stud, and just a sweet guy, family.
Everything
man,
you're saying, I just said 5 hours ago at flips. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I go over Mikey D's fire at flips, every flips class. And Matty Quinn did it too. And I only speak from my perspective and my experience, and what happened to me that day. And, Matt certainly has his own story, and my heart breaks for him every day because that's his guy. And, and nothing we did was really wrong. It just went sideways, and, there's a whole story to it that we could talk about another day. Yeah. But the I don't even know where to start. Like the impact that it had on everybody's lives. I mean, most importantly, of course, Mike's parents and his brother, and of course, Eileen and the kids. Like that's just beyond any sort of.
So start
thing
here.
That you could. Yeah, where do you want to start with that? Because it's so deep.
Start with getting the tone alarms going off. Start with the, what you
So
remember about, the
all
fire
right, so
and
it was dude,
responding and
every single thing about it. I mean, it was a great night. The NCAA tournament was on. We're watching Nevada. They were on a little bit of a Cinderella run. They were like the story of the tournament.
Mhm.
We were watching them, having a good time. Nothing really going on too much. A couple of bullshit runs,
yeah,
and then we get a second new gas leak up on Bradhurst and like 146 or 47.
yeah.
And then this thing comes in. So all the companies were there, kind of. You know what I mean? 80 and 23 were there. We were there. 84 was there. So we get turned out for that. And when we turn into the block, there's a movie set. Motherless Brooklyn is being filmed. So it was a little bit chaotic right off the jump because there was a box truck there, lights, cameras, wires everywhere, people everywhere, actors.
We didn't
people.
know that there was a movie set going on.
No idea.
Before we got
no,
there.
no way.
I say we because that's my battalion. I wasn't working that
Yeah.
night. When I say we, I mean you guys
that
were there. So go ahead.
So that was that. So it was already like mixed up, and it's so crazy because I listened to the tapes every day for 2 years. Wondering what I could have done better, what I did wrong. Like just as an officer, you have to accept your responsibility and your role at every incident, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. And it's amazing because Mike gets off the rig, and I'm telling you, it's less than a minute. You hear, "Ready for water, John." Berkey was the chauffeur. "Ready for water, John," in 30 seconds. That's how squared away 69 is and Mikey D. You know what I mean? He's got the pipe. He's on a knee. He's at the front door, ready to rock. You know what I mean? And that's that's what I remember about Mikey D. You know what I mean? Other than being extremely, extremely good to me and breaking me in to how they did things in 69, because I was in 69 too for a while. I did a lot of time over there. And, I just remember one particular day to talk about Mikey. He's like, "Boss, I want to take a ride. We got 2 probies working. We're going to do a drill." I said, "Yeah, no problem." He goes, "I want to get them on the 2.5." I said, "Yeah, all good." So, when you're coming down the FDR Drive, the Harlem River Drive off the bridge, you go up and it becomes like 155th. You know what I mean? You can go up that way.
Yeah.
So we go to that block, but it's on like the bluff, like Coogan's Bluff. We go up to the corner and he backs down Coogan's Bluff, like down 155th, going towards the highway. And I'm like, "Where's he going?" And he went down halfway down the hill, hooked up to the hydrant, stretched the 2.5, and he had these 2 probies go up and down the street. It's easy to go down, but now you go up. It's up, down, up, because you got to know what it feels like to operate a 2.5. And the quicker you get to know that feeling and understand how to use it and operate it, the better firefighter you are. This is the kind of guy he was, taking care of people, teaching them the right way. You know what I mean? A real all-star on every level, really amazing guy. I can't say enough about him. So he's ready to rock. I wasn't my best that day only because I couldn't find the stairs to the cellar. I never said cellar. I got knocked off the search. I did a left-hand search, which is the cellar door wound up being behind a bunch of tables and going down this way behind a wall. But I got knocked off my search to a right-hand search where the bar was. And it wasn't hot. It was just smoky. So I'm like, I got to get to the rear as soon as I can to see maybe this thing's in the kitchen in the rear or whatever. You know what I mean? So I just shoot my hand down on the rail and I get all the way to the rear so far as I open up a door and I'm in the backyard. So then I come back in, close the door, smoke, no fire.
And at this
I
point,
got heat in the floor.
You didn't know that there were false walls all up.
No way. No, it was pitch black. Yeah, pitch black in there.
Yeah.
That ultimately wound up what was essentially a bomb that we know now.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever, they did some renovations for the movie. The OV finds the stairs. We wind up going down. Mikey kills it. You know what I mean? Fucking kills it. Fucking awesome job. Fucking 2.5, 360 degrees into a cellar. When he opened it up, I was like, "Who's this?" He hits me in the shoulder. "Who's this?" "Mikey D, I got the nozzle." I said, "Oh, Mikey, baby, open it up." Dude, he opens it up. Fucking boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom. I'm like, this guy's got a 2.5. I'm like, "Mikey, you got a 2.5. Let's go, baby." Dude, killing it. Boom, boom. And then you hear me saying the radio. I'm like, "Let me get out of the way." Like, someone keyed that mic. Because you're just an engineman at that point, right? The fire's over there. The engine's got the water. And I'm just going to help him hump a little hose. And he did such a tremendous job, and then I can't say that we stayed too long because we did the job and our job was out. You know what I mean? Like, and I was on Barb Alert. Mikey was ahead of me, obviously with Maddie and the nozzle team, taking care of business. And then, the fire started percolating up the, walls that we didn't know about. It lets go. of the windows in the rear behind where the stage was. Rescue 3's roof man is like, we got fire blowing out the rear. We're all like, how does that happen? Because this fire's out. And then within milliseconds, the whole thing just took off. And it was it was 3/4-inch plywood with a foam insulation veneer and a painted, like plasticky paint on it. So it was literally a fucking bomb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By the time it let go, and it got the oxygen introduced when the windows failed. So it was awful. And 2.5 companies were trapped down there. 3 companies, 28 truck, 69, 80. Half the chief, the one floor, his aide got blown out the front door, when the thing lit up. So it was just a very sad, ugly set of circumstances that unfortunately happened, and we all have to deal with the repercussions of it, and they're painful. And I don't even have one iota of the pain that the families feel, because that's just a whole nother level. You know what I mean? And I know what it did to me. You know what I mean? Like, it really shook me to my core, and all the things that they say happen to you. And I'm only bringing this up because this is the most important reason that I do flips, is that, we could train for a lot of things. Firefighters do a lot of things, stretching hose lines, rappelling off roofs to save people on life-saving ropes. You know what I mean? We know how to do forcing doors, forcible entry, cutting gates. We do a million things. EMS runs, doing CPR. We do everything. But there's no training for what happens when things go so bad that we lose a brother or a sister in a fire. There's no training for that. You know what I mean? And, what I've concluded, at least in my own journey of this, is you just got to put one step in front of the other. And if somebody in your world is seeing something changing in you, put the antennas up and maybe listen. I went right back to work after this shit happened. I was like, I got to know if I have it or I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I got to get in the seat and do the job. And if I don't have it, fuck it. I'll retire. I can do my electrical business. I'm good. You know what I mean? I got a great home life. You know what I mean? I'm happy at home. I got a great wife and kids. I'm good. But I needed to know. And then I got the flavor again, and I was all good that way. But mentally, I wasn't good, and, there was signs, of stress in my life that come out in different ways. And we all know what they are, maybe drink too much, maybe a little angry. But the one thing that I was foreign to me was literally I collapsed in my shower on the floor crying, and I couldn't stop, like nonstop. And then I dust myself off, and then a week later it would happen again. And a week later it would happen again. Yeah, like no joke, bro. That's no joke.
How long after
it was awful?
How long after the incident did that first time happen? How long? Like, was it a week? Was it 2 weeks?
Probably 2 weeks. Probably 2 weeks when the dust settled, and I started to really think about things,
Yeah.
And my wife finally said, Carrie was like, I think it's time you got to see somebody. I mean, this is not like, you really, struggling here. Like, I see it, and then one day I just wound up, it was like, I think August, I wound up in a counseling service unit up here in Orange County. And I was like, yo, my name is Josh Calacanis. It was 4:00. They were closing the doors. I said, I don't even know why I'm here, but I was involved in an incident. And I was like, it was a fatal fire, actually, Mike Davidson. They were like, wait, what's your name? And then, they took down my name, my number, like, we'll call you tomorrow. You got to come in, and then I got my therapist, or I say counselor. I mean, to me, it was like, it was getting taught the tools you need to survive a catastrophic event that you have a fucking significant role in. You know what I mean? Like, I saw the dead baby when I was a cop, but I had nothing to do with that. Right. I was the truck boss. I was the truck boss and the incident commander at that fire, and I wasn't relieved by the all hands chief. I never saw him down there. He was down there, but we just never made contact. Shit got so bad so quick. I never, you know what I mean? So for me, that hangs over my head. It looms large, and I'm not overplaying it. Like I said, I only speak to my experience and how I feel. And thank God I was smart enough to listen and be like, yo, you're right. This is weird. What am I doing? I get the other things that happen to you, because that happened to me my whole life. You know what I mean? But that part was a very significant, weird fucking thing. And I did it every week for 3, 4, 5 months, then every other week, then every 3 weeks, And then I got laughed with my counselor. I says, I think I graduated the program, because I felt I really did get a lot of tools necessary to kind of understand what is happening to me.
So that's the thing. Like, all those things that you've dealt with as a cop, the shootings, the baby, this, that, the other thing, maybe some other things going on. you can kind of compartmentalize those because you're not directly involved. It'll directly affect your family or you or whatever. You're like, oh, that's messed up. But I don't know that guy. I don't know that guy.
Right.
You get to this, you get to Mikey D. You know him personally. You worked with him. You were there. You were this. You start going over everything in your head.
You think about it every day.
You can't keep that in a compartment. That's gonna rear its head. And you can only talk to the brothers so much. A therapist or a counselor or a psychiatrist, whatever you want to call them, they give you tools to help you with this. I could sit there and say, my therapy was the kitchen table, the brothers at the table. It helped me.
And mine was. My term was the men or the medicine, because that's where I was going back to work right away. I'm like, Harry, I got to go to work.
But those guys don't know how. They could talk to you and listen to you, and you could get a lot of shit off your chest. But I don't know if they're going to give you tools on how to something to do every day. Yeah, do this, like what somebody who's trained in dealing with.
And I'll give you one piece that changed me forever.
Yeah,
because I was doing the EMD, with the pulsing. It's like a PTSD sort of. I forget what it's called. EPR. It's called something like that, where they send shockwaves through you. You know what I mean? And as you talking through things and whatever. So I tried that, whatever. But she always said, put yourself in a place, your favorite place, most relaxing place. And I always think about either Breezy and the beach or Montauk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always put myself there. So then later on, a few months later, she said to me, because I was telling about my emotions, that I cannot control my crying. I can't. It's impossible. I'm in softy anyway to begin with. I'm an emotional dude. Ask anybody who knows me, but this was something different. And she said, think of waves, think of emotions like waves on the ocean. You can't stop it from coming. Even if it's a tsunami, it's going to come, it's going to knock you down, but eventually it washes back into the ocean and it recedes. And you can take a breath. Something so simple, a metaphor so simple, changed my life. No joke, man. And Melissa, thank you for changing my life like that.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. It was like really amazing. And it's just, think about that. So simple, right? And I could feel it coming. I was doing flips today. Dude, I feel it coming. You know what I mean? I feel it right now. I feel it coming. And it's okay. Because she said to me, you know what the normal reaction to a tragedy that you've been through, or anybody else in this job has been through, whether it's 9/11 or another line of duty death? Crying. You know, it's not a normal response, not crying. So she's like, that reaction is a normal human response to a tragedy. Understand that part of it. And then let this, wave analogy, kind of carry you through those tough moments. And I changed my life, bro. And of course, my deep faith and my wife and kids, forget it. I can't even tell you the support I got there, but it's, it's very cool. And from the firehouse, and I'll give you one quick story about how beautiful. Mike was a legacy member. His dad worked there for years and years. And after Mike's fire and all sorts of things, he was a big Met fan. And so was his dad and his brother Eric and his mom, Paula. And they came to the firehouse with the Mets. So a couple of funny things. Jeff Wilpon was there, who's, worth $1 gazillion. So he walks in, and Joe Hansen is up in the gym, and they set Wilpon up. Joe Hansen's got a Speedo, Captain America Speedo with the Captain America shield, in that area, with his chauffeur boots on. But he's only benching the what do you call it? The bar.
Yeah.
So Wilpon, they call Wilpon up. Oh, you want to see the gym? This is where we work out. You got to see these guys. They're beasts. So he's up there with the bikini. And he's like, "Nyeh!" And then he gets up and he throws the fucking, what do you call it? The bar on the floor. Boom. He goes, hey guys, I didn't notice you there. This is where I spend most of my time, but you could probably tell. And he walks away. Dude, Wilpon was on the floor laughing, on the floor.
And knowing Joe, he's perfect.
Dude, perfect setup. It was a perfect setup and delivery. Knocked it out of the park, grand slam. Then Pete Constantine and Mike O'Brien, and they two wound up going to Rescue 3. Dude, the best fireman in the world. Forget it.
I mean,
pound for pound, amazing. So they set up a door.
Too,
the best. They set up a door downstairs. But like it's Alcatraz, you know what I mean? Like they, you know that door downstairs, dude. These guys, they set it up hard, bolts, everything.
Beast, bro.
Pete's got the irons. Animal. Yeah. Pete's got the irons. Mike O'Brien is swinging the axe from the floor, with precision. Boom! And another thing on the L28 truck, when you force a door, they go hit, 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 drive. And when the guy says drive, the can man, you just pound. I mean, the irons man, the can man just pounds, boom, 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 until that is deep enough where he says stop. Yeah. I never knew that, but I learned that there, and it's a great technique. So Mike is from the floor. The whole firehouse is shaking. Boom, boom, boom. Then he goes drive, and he's just like a pile driver. Dude, and it was like the pitches. They were 7 feet tall each, these guys. It was like 5 of the players. They never seen anything like that in their life. It was awesome. But later on in the day, I hadn't really met Paula and Bobby D yet, like in a setting, where I could speak to them. I didn't get to talk to them at the wake and the funeral, really. You know what I mean? There was a lot going on there. But I had this compulsion that I just need to tell them that nobody left Mikey out there. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the way this went down. And that's the truth. Yeah. Because I'd be dead if it wasn't. Trust me on that. And I went up to her. It shows you how firemen families can be so strong. It blows my mind. I said, Mrs. Davidson, my name is Josh Calacanis. I was working on L-28 the night we lost Mikey. And I'm really, really sorry. My heart is broken for all of you, especially you as mom. I was like, and I just want you to know, nobody left Mikey out there. It wasn't like that. Dude, she goes, don't say another word. She goes, don't even say another word. She grabbed my hands and she said, I've been a fireman's wife for a really long time and a fireman's mom. I know this business and I know it's dangerous. And I know you guys would do anything you could to take care of my son. We don't feel that way. Don't put that pressure on yourself.
Man.
I mean, I was like, okay, I have to honor that. You know what I mean? Like,
I think I would have broke down, man.
Okay. I said, thank you very much. I didn't know what to do except say, thank you. And I'm sorry. Yeah. It was really an impactful moment, and that's, to me, that's the women that go through the tragedies are the like unsung heroes of life, whether it's Eileen Ballou, Eileen Davidson, Paula, or Damien's mom, you know what I mean? Like, like, what I'm saying? Like, these women are left with the bag, like, to take care of the kids, the grandkids, the family structure. And I really want to acknowledge that it's the women in the world that are really the most powerful ones that can really keep it together and make a guy like me feel better about a tragedy of such magnitude. What strength is that?
Probably took a little bit off your shoulders, man. Maybe even just a little bit. Dude. Yeah. But it's definitely not talked about enough how the families are affected, how the wives, the mothers are affected. We think about, we think about the brother. We keep thinking about Mikey. We think about, this guy, that guy. But you forget, not that you forget, we don't forget that they have a family and they have kids. It's just like, you don't think about what they went through, what they're thinking even before. When every time you went to work for 20 something years, what your wife's thinking or what your kids are thinking, or if they thought about it at all, what Shannon was thinking when, her father went to work or when I was going to work.
Yeah.
She would always, I know she would tell me, she's like, where you working tonight? I was like, I'm driving tonight. And she would be like, okay, I know you don't go into the fire if you drive.
Feel a little bit better.
Yeah. Or I'd be like, oh, I'm working in some truck in the South Bronx. And she would probably be up all night. But I didn't care. Like, I was like, I'm going to go for,
right, I'm going to work.
Think about that. I didn't realize how it affected her. So it's something that's certainly not talked about enough. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you sharing all that stuff, man. That's not easy. I know you share it in flips, but
Yeah, and those young lieutenants that are just getting promoted, like, this could happen on your watch, man. This could happen to you. And I'll just share one more story about Stephen Pollard. He was the line of duty death after Mike. And Stephen's brother Ray was my probie assigned to me in my group 2. Like, we were both in group 2. He's my little brother. I love him to death. So great. His dad's a legendary guy, senior man at 102 for years and years. Great fireman family, great family. And so after that happened, I was in the ceremonial unit, and we were doing a block party at Rockaway Avenue, where Ladder 170 is and 257 on their corner. You know how to do the block party sometimes?
Yeah.
They probably did it up in Harlem too.
Yeah, yeah.
So
for the neighborhood to come and...
Yeah, exactly right. And see the firehouse and, they give stuff away. And,
It's like a recruiting thing almost.
It's a recruiting thing, yeah. So I'm over there and I'm setting things up or whatever. And I just walk over by the firehouse. The doors are open. I says, oh, who's the truck boss today? And they say the guy's name. I think, you know, it's the guy who was working with Stephen Pollard, who, by the way, that's a pure accident. You know, nobody's fault on that one, you know. Anyway, I walk in the door and I go up to the office and I'm in a, you know, a uniform. I says, hey, how you doing? He was, hey, what do you need, the bathroom or something? You know, you think I'm coming up to go to the bathroom, you know? I said, no. I said, actually, I just wanted to say hello, introduce myself and see if you were okay. I said, my name is Josh Calacanis. I was working a lot of 28 when we lost Mikey D. Bro, he gets up out of from behind the desk, fucking tears in his eyes, and he said, thank you. And he gave me the biggest hug. And he said, Matt Quinn called me like maybe a week after it happened. He got my number somehow and he called me. He said, I know for a fact he saved my life because the way I was feeling with the guilt I had in my heart, I didn't know what I was going to do. You don't know. Kill myself, drink myself to death, you know, whatever, become this other person that I'm not, you know? And I said, please tell Maddie how much he did for me and how he saved my life and my career. Because now we're back in the firehouse, working in the company, you know what I mean? In my company with pride. I mean, that's real, man, you know?
Yeah, man.
And that's why I do the flips thing. It's like, it's going to happen again. You know what I mean? And if you could just be a little bit prepared for the, you know, emotional impact, you'd just be a little bit better off. You know what I mean?
Did they do anything like that before, Mikey D? Was there anybody telling these guys to be an officer and lose a guy? This is what you should. This is how you're going to feel it. This is what you should prepare. So. Not that you could prepare for it, but this is what I felt. I felt like I was responsible. I felt guilt. I still have guilt. This is kind of what I felt and how, you know, you might feel if you lose one of your firemen in a fire. Did they ever do anything like that? When you became a lieutenant, there wasn't anybody.
No.
So
we did Black Sunday fire. We did a lot of fires with a lot of great guys that talked about a lot of things, but never from an officer's perspective.
Right. But so nobody was there to prepare an officer. I mean, you'd probably, you know, maybe hearsay here and there to tell an officer, these 50 new officers or whatever that just got made from firemen, some young guys, some guys get made very quickly, that you might have to deal with a line of duty death, a guy on your watch in your company that you have to call his family or whatever the case may be. Like, this is how I've dealt with it. This is how you might have to deal with that. This is a real job. And this is really might happen to you guys. Just to have that little inkling of prepare. So if God forbid it does happen to them, they go, oh, I remember the guy talking about this in flips 10 years ago or whatever the case may be.
Totally. And every single time I've done it, and I've done it a lot, and Maddie Quinn has too, you know, it's very difficult for both of us to do it. Every time there's a line of guys to talk to me. I gave a guy my cell phone number today, the last guy in the house. He's waited, everybody left. He said, can you give me your number? You know, I had something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Another time a guy comes up to me at the end and he says, he's looking up and he's like, I was the probie after Pollard and the probie before Klein. Those were my boys, my best friends. And I was in the same hospital with both of them when they died. Dude, like, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, I just can't understand it, you know, but thank you so much for sharing your experience because I feel a little bit better or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I gave him my number, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's every time. Another guy came up to me, maybe, I don't know, 6-8 months ago, and he says, I was in the military. I was the only guy to survive of my unit, whatever it was. He's like, I lost 11 guys out of my 12 original unit guys. They're gone. And it's only me. So these feelings, it doesn't matter whether it's fire department, military, police department, they're real. Yeah. And if you don't acknowledge it and get a handle on it, you know, you could go down a bad road. You know what I mean? And that's where I think, you know, professional help helps, and the men being the medicine helps, and peer counseling, like me talking to you right now and going to flips and getting it off my chest, you know what I mean? And talking about it openly, and what an amazing guy Mikey was, and honoring him in that way. And 69 Engine, tremendous. I mean, you can't say enough about a company like that. You know, the words don't even describe it. You know what I mean? They're that amazingly good at their job and into the job and train hard and everything. And, you know, I don't know.
So speaking of that, let's not end because I want to pop up some pictures, but the Michael Davidson Foundation is the next thing up in the Mikey D Foundation is, let me take a look here, is June 13th at the Sugar Bowl in Breezy Point, Stars
Breezy
and Stripes,
Point.
2026 yes. Mikey Davidson Beach Bash, hosted at the Sugar Bowl, 12 to 5. So get on the Michael Davidson Foundation website, sign up, come down, donate. Just, great day remembering Mike.
And what strength Mikey Davidson's family has to continue his legacy and start this beautiful,
for sure.
Foundation. And they do tremendous good. They do so much good in the world, for first responders, families, what I mean? Like really, and other people too, of course, but they do so much good in the world. And that speaks to first of all, the nature of that family, how beautiful they are and strong, you know what I mean? And caring and kind. But it also speaks to what we could do when a tragedy occurs. Yeah. You know what I mean? We can turn something tragic into something beautiful and meaningful and impactful. We can do it. Just talking about how the Davidson family is so amazing and powerful to create this foundation and do something really incredibly important in the world, caring for people and helping them in critical times. Haven't been through that. And every time there's a Mikey D event, they relive the whole experience. You know what I mean? They see faces they haven't seen since the last time they had it. You know what I mean? And the first time they saw each other was after Mikey's funeral. You know what I mean? And then after the first plaque dedication, and then the first anniversary, the second anniversary. Like it's really, I can't imagine how hard it is to do that. But you have to honor the families that do that and create something so beautiful out of something so tragic. Yeah. And that, if you can do that in life, you have a superpower, you know what I mean? And I hope to God that, they're okay. And every time I see them, they really do seem like they're okay and they're doing good. But, you always think about it, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like the sadness of it,
Yeah, I will, I'll link the Michael Davidson Foundation in the description. So, I'm honored that you shared that stuff with me, brother. Thank you so much. But let's finish up.
Give me something funny. Yeah. Give me something funny to do.
Some picture time here. Let me see what we got.
We can do picture time.
Yeah, let's do picture time. Let's, I don't know. You want to talk about this one? How about it?
Surprise me. Oh, God. All right. So that was, bro. Oh God, no, they're Versace actually. So
they're Versace.
My mother buys me underwear every year for Christmas and puts it in my stocking. It's actually become a joke. Yeah. So anyway, she gets me these Versace underwears. They're very tight, but extremely comfortable, I might have to say. And Billy Roll, before he retired, he bequeathed me this quilt that I'm wearing. But in that picture, it's a little bit longer. But when I actually start to walk around, it becomes it's a belly quilt, comes up under the boobies a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it comes up on that belly. And I'm in chauffeur school, right? And I wear my Versace's and I throw the Billy Buff coat on. And on the back, the L114 is like this big, It's like the tiniest L114 you ever saw in your life. So they used to break my balls every day. Tally Ho, they wrote all over my books, my name tag. They changed it just to Tally Ho. It was very funny. So the ceremonial unit needs to take 2 rigs to do a flag, at an event. Yep. So we have to wash the rigs that morning. So like, all right, fire department's so funny. All right, take the rigs down and wash them. So we all got scrub brushes and fucking joint compound buckets, full of soapy water. And we take it down to where they do the foam training and stuff, all the way at the end of the rock.
All the way at the end.
So anyway, everybody's organizing themselves and getting all their stuff together. And there's another picture of doing a jumping jack. I take off all my clothes. I have my shoes on and my underwear. And I hide behind the shack where they had the grill because we used to cook lunch there once in a while. Yeah. And I jump out of the shack and I'm like, ready, boys, calisthenics. And I start doing jumping jacks. And I come out doing jumping jacks. Dude, we all start doing jumping jacks. Bro, the whole squad of us doing jumping jacks. So then we start to operate, and I got the belly shirt on, the underwear going, and I got the line now. I got a hose, and the other guys are scrubbing, and we got music going. It's all. So then Sapienza and all the guys that the instructors come down to see how we're making out with the rigs that have to be ready in 5 minutes. Bro, I'm yelling, Sapienza, Sapienza, get down here, grab a brush, we need you. like old school, you know what I mean? Yeah. We need you. Like Rodney Dangerfield, we need you. I'm like, Sapienza, we need you. Bro, he gets halfway down the the walkway there, and he sees what's going on. And he's like, "Let me know when you're ready, and you're done. I'll see you later." And he goes right back to the thing. Oh my God, hysterical! Another quick funny story. PD Sorbo from 23.
Yeah.
So me, him, and Tommy Newbert were in shoulder school together.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing the simulator, right? So we break for lunch, and he knows I got to go first after lunch. He hides under the simulator. Dude. So now the simulator, you know how the simulator moves around, you see how he goes, and it's a big screen. So I'm driving down, I'm hitting the horn, I'm like, "Tally ho, we're coming, we're coming to get you." Dude, all of a sudden I pick up a little speed, and then all of a sudden the steering's a little bit more, finicky. Mm-hmm. So I'm wailing down the street, and the officer's like, "You better slow down a little bit." I'm like, "No, we got to get there." Dude, all of a sudden, Sorbo, dude, this is the front. He goes, "Ah!" And he throws himself in the window, in my windshield, and then onto the floor. Dude, I almost shit in my pants, bro.
Oh, that is
Everybody's crying, laughing. They threw us all out of the room. Everybody out. You guys are the worst. Go take lunch. Go take another lunch.
Bro, that guy is hysterical.
It was so funny.
He's a funny dude.
The funniest guy in the world.
Funny dude.
What a funny dude, man.
Oh man.
Sapienza. Good times. What do you got? You got more pictures? Come on. The tally ho. That's nice. When you have legend status, they send you things in the mail, a little gift here and there. I sent that to the boys in 28 truck though. I said, where's my quilt, man? Where's my blankie? I mean, come on. I never got the spot, so I didn't get a patch or a blanket.
King of the selfies. King of the selfies.
Oh, I love his selfies. Yeah, it's Joshy boy, 28 truck doing it.
Nice.
Loving it. Oh, good times. Paulie in the background.
There you go.
Oh, that was nice. So I became a board member of the Friends of Firefighters.
Mm-hmm.
After I retired. It was actually a good timing sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I needed something to help me and just kind of help me.
Sure.
And I got involved with them. And I became a board member, and they actually honored me. So that's me, John the Beard, my father, and my mom, Kathy.
I was there that night.
Parents are the greatest. That was a great night. That was a good night.
Yeah, it was a good night.
That was a funny night.
Yeah,
that was a good night.
The over-under was over on your speech.
The over-under.
That was so funny.
It went over 28 minutes.
Look at this.
Oh, nice one, brother.
Look at that.
That's hysterical. That's my wedding. So that's my brother Jamie. Wedding. That's my brother Jamie on the lower half with doing the Batuzzi, and my brother Jason on the other side. That's me and my two brothers. Wow, that's a great picture. What hair. Awesome. So we took photos back in those days. I mean, I say that like I'm old. I'm not old. I'm 54 years old. But back then, days. Yeah, you went to the photo studio and they had backdrops. So we're taking pictures. Me and my wife, she's on a fake swing with plastic flowers, and I'm taking a picture with her. It's so cheesy back then. And then all of a sudden we look in the wall and they had this roll down screen and it's got like 10 different drops, maybe more. Yeah, so we keep rolling through the drops and then we see that one and it's like, oh yeah, no, this is the one.
Just the pictures. That's so you, man. That's so you. All right, let's do one more here. There you go.
That's me and Kevin Hogan, the Gordon Bennett winner, brother. You never know. Nice. That guy, tremendous firefighter. Yeah.
Is that his Vespa? Is that his Vespa?
No. One of the bosses in 201 had a Vespa. He drove in every day. But meanwhile, he was a huge workout guy, elevator mechanic, like a real strong guy. We used to break his chops all the time with his Vespa.
What are you driving this thing for?
Totally.
That's
so
hysterical,
funny,
man. That's hysterical.
So funny. Good times. The
great stuff, man.
Hijinks.
Great stuff, man. Let's end on that note. But you got any final? I usually ask the question. You've given so much advice to guys. What kind of advice you say to like a guy? Like a new guy. Let's do a probie coming on the fire department now.
My favorite thing in the world was probies coming in.
What kind of advice you give to a brand new probie in this day and age, 2026, that Lieutenant Josh Calacanis would give to a guy coming into your firehouse?
I said this to every single probie that came. This is where men come to work. And now women too, obviously. And it's been that way for a while. But I mean to say, this is where men come to work. And I use that reference not misogynistically, but just to make the point that when you come here, everything else that happened to you yesterday, an hour before you got here, the traffic, nothing matters. This is where men come to work. We don't complain. We do the job that has to get done. And whether it's in the firehouse or it's on the fire floor. That's the first thing. No complaining, and you do your job. You don't say, why did he? Well, he didn't do it. You know what I mean? All of that. This is where men come to work. Zero complaining. Secondly, you should thank God every day of your life that he made you a New York City firefighter, because this is the greatest job in the world, bar none. There is not a greater job that exists on the planet, and you have it. But with that comes the greatest responsibility to actually be able to get good at it, which is not easy. You know what I mean? And it's a never ending journey until you actually retire. You're never going to be that great firefighter until you retire and your career is over and you can look back. You know what I mean? On all the good and the bad. So number one, we don't complain. So men come to work. No bullshit. Number two, you're very lucky that you're on this job because it's a gift from God. That's how seriously I take it. It's the greatest job in the world, period. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
Number three, you get paid to do it, which ties into 1 and 2. So when you go out the door, don't complain. Don't matter if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you're in that building for the 5th time. We're getting paid to do this job. We're paid civil servants. So do your job that you're supposed to do because you're getting paid for it. That's a big thing. You know what I mean? Like, because that'll cut out a lot of the complaining that, firemen do, or anybody does, cops, firemen, it doesn't matter. You're always going to find something to complain about, teachers. It doesn't matter what you do. So try to stay away from that negativity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just realize that you get paid for this job and you should be honored to do it. You're going to be taken care of for the rest of your life. I remember when I was becoming a cop, my father sent me to see this guy, Gene Didi, that hung out in his bar. And he's like, go talk to Gene Didi and he'll give you some advice about becoming a cop or not, because I was on the fence with it, And Gene Didi said to me, you'll never be rich. You'll always have enough money to take your family on vacation once a year. and you'll have health benefits for the rest of your life. And you're going to do a job that is really amazing and different every day. And when you calculate that, it makes a lot of sense, right? And that's why I took the job. I needed a steady job with steady income. I didn't care about being rich or having money. It doesn't mean nothing to me. You know what I mean? Never put a value on money. It doesn't mean shit. But he said that to me, and it just woke me up. Like, this is a job. You're getting paid for it, so do it right. Be good at it. Take it seriously. Like, you're earning your pay. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. Not to go on and on, but that's it. Like, feel honored to do the job. Don't complain about anything, and do it because you're getting paid to do it. And by the way, P.S. It's a blessing to be a blessing. That's a saying I just learned over the last couple of years. Like, you don't have any idea what a blessing you are as a New York City firefighter when you come and help somebody. I'll never forget it. My first tour in 16 engine, right? When I went across the floor over there, we had an EMS run to 34th Street in this huge old building. And we get in there and the neighbors are saying, we haven't seen the neighbor in over the weekend since Thursday or Friday. And every day he goes down, he gets the paper, we see him. Yeah. And okay. We pop the door.
Yeah.
Dude, we pop the door and we go in and there is a enormous, German 6'5", burly 80-year-old man or 70-year-old man, literally definitely fought in World War II type of guy. You know what I mean? But a man, you could see his apartment was pristine, clothes hanging up perfectly. You know what I mean? He was a man. And he was on his face. He slipped and fell out of the bathtub, and he was so big, he couldn't get himself up. Dude, we rolled him over and he was naked as a jaybird. You know what I mean? And he looked me dead in my eyes and he said, thank you very much. I've been laying here since Friday. Thank you. And immediately I was like, this is what I'm doing for a living. Thank you, God, for actually putting me in a position to do what I feel I do best. Love people, care about people. You know what I mean? I don't mean that egotistically. I mean that's just my DNA. That's my nature. You know what I mean? I really love people, you know? And that moment, you've had them in your career. When he looked at me and he said that, and he was a proud man, you could tell. He didn't want to be laying there naked. He felt ashamed of himself that he slipped and fell. You know what I mean? And we got him all cleaned up nice, got his clothes on, wrapped him up in a blanket, sir. And I didn't say anything because what am I going to say? I'm a probie, not even graduated yet. Took him in the ambulance, absolute professionals. The guys in 16 engine were so pro. Right into the engine, right into the ambulance rather. And he looked at me and again, he gave me a thumbs up. He just gave me a thank you.
Yeah.
So that was and I forget about the real stuff, but that was a very poignant moment in my young firefighting career where honor this job with the integrity it requires because you do good things for people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you really make a difference, And that's really the beauty of the job. Is like you really make a difference in people's lives. You know what I mean? And you care for them properly. And there's some bad people in the world too that will throw shit off the roofs at us, you know, and that's their own thing, you know, whatever. But that's not the way I approach the job. It never was, you know?
Yeah, man. Perfectly said, dude. Perfectly said. It's all part of the job. You're there to help people. You get paid for it. Act like it, you know?
Yeah.
And people, when you show up, people are thankful that you're there, and be a blessing that you are there for them. So yeah, man. Great stuff, bro.
And every now and again you do jumping jacks in your underwear, you know, or you throw the heavies around in the Speedo, you know. There's a little bit of fun too.
Great stuff. It's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun.
Kenny, thank you so much. I feel like we could talk for 2 days, man. I want to do a part 3.
We're definitely gonna get on again.
I feel really happy and honored that you invited me to speak.
Bro, you're one of my dearest
friends. I really do.
So, I'm so happy that you finally did it. You know, the timing was right. So
finally did it, man.
We're gonna sign off, but don't hang up yet. Don't leave the chat or the conversation.
I can't wait to hear your outro. It's my favorite outro on podcasting.
So everybody,
it's so true.
Thanks again for Lieutenant Retired Joshy Jobs, the J-Man Calacanis, for coming on the kitchen table. I really appreciate it. And remember, it must be true.
If you heard it at the kitchen table.
In stereo.
I love it.
All right. Take care, everybody.